Today on
Doomed!
Oh, Dilbert, where did you go? On today's episode of Doomed with Matt Binder, I will be breaking down exactly what the hell happened that resulted in the classic Dilbert comic strip. That's right, the office guy from the newspaper comic section. What exactly happened to get that comic strip pulled from hundreds of newspapers across the country? What could have the creator of Dilbert, Scott Adams, possibly have done wrong? Well, I'll tell you, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And you'll never guess who is staunchly defending Dilbert and his creator, Scott Adams. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. It's Elon Musk. It's Elon Musk, of course. It's Elon Musk. Why wouldn't it be Elon Musk? Let me pull myself up on the feed here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. It is an absolute pleasure to be with you all today. This is a Matt Binder solo episode. Some of you really like these. Some of you really hate these. But I haven't done one of these in the year 2023 quite yet. So I thought, what better day to do it than the episode in which I am going to run down exactly what the Dilbert creator has wrought on himself, really. I mean, that's who's getting the consequences. That's who's experiencing, I should say, the consequences of their actions. Possibly even the appropriate term or saying to use here is eating his just desserts. I think that's it, right? Getting his just desserts, is that it? Whatever it is, give this man his dessert. Because we're going to get into this. But usually when I have a guest on, I get right in because I think it's rude. I have my guest waiting on the line. I'm not going to run down how you could support this show with my guest waiting to get into their work, their reporting, their book, whatever it is they're here to talk with us about. But there is no guest today, so I am going into full self-promo mode just for a minute or two, just for not even two. What am I talking about? Just for a minute. Folks, to support this show, my live streams, my other shows, my other work, everything I do that hopefully you enjoy or appreciate, or at the very least, entertain you in some way. You can go to patreon.com/MattBinder and become a monthly paying subscriber. This is I am live streaming right now on the final day of the month of February. And as you know, Patreon does the whole thing where they charge subscribers at the beginning of the month. So this would be a great time to show your support and become a subscriber. You can also go to youtube.com/MattBinder, where I am live streaming right now, and drop a super chat in the live chat area, and I will read whatever question, comment, concern, diss you leave as part of your super chat I'll read it during the show. So that's at youtube.com/MattBinder. And while you're there, if you're not already a subscriber, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that's free, subscribing to the YouTube channel. Also, if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. That basically means at no extra cost to you, you can get your favorite Twitch creator paid by Amazon. It's like your Robin Hood, and you're taking from Jeff Bezos and you're giving to the poor, which I hope in this case is me. But even if it's not me, give it to someone on Twitch you enjoy. Don't let it go to waste. You're just letting Amazon keep more of your money. So that's twitch.tv twitch.tv/Matt Binder. And while you're there, follow the Twitch channel too. And remember, following someone on Twitch is also free. All right. At Matt Binder on Twitter. Check out Scam Economy, my other show. For the podcast version of this show, go to doomedcast.com. And yada, yada, yada. Let's get down to business. I almost broke out into that Mulan song for a second. Also, it shouldn't be too bad, but I do feel a little bit of a cough coming on. So I will try to keep it to a minimum. But if there's a cough or two, it's been pretty good so far, right? But if there's a cough or two, don't hate me for it. Let me take a quick sip and we will dive right in. Okay, so Dilbert. The KKK took my Dilbert away. I mean, technically that's sort of accurate, that pun of that Ramones song. But people probably have the basics down if you paid attention to this whole discourse that's been happening online. And people probably have no clue whatsoever about any detail I'm about to bring up, because this story is both ridiculous and incredible, honestly. So if you're not familiar with the Dilbert creator, I'll give you a quick summary. There's a lot of backstory into him and his history as a right-winger. He is a MAGA guy. Over the years, there have been various other horrible statements attributed to him online. Perhaps in the future, I'll do have a guest on and we'll go into, what some of those things are. But to keep it simple, Scott Adams is a MAGA guy who dealt in election conspiracy theories, obviously, because he was a Trump supporter. There are quotes that been spread around online from him over the years where he's dealing in some really sexist, homophobic, anti-Semitic rhetoric. And so, part of the course for where this is about to go, right? But somehow, because he has been the creator of this 20-plus year comic strip that has attained some sort of notoriety among the newspaper comic world, I guess, he's been able to get away with this stuff. I mean, he has been, to his credit, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but he has been very careful in the way he words certain things to, he could sort of wiggle his way, just like Donald Trump himself has been able to wriggle himself out of these gems, per the famous Bronze Hammer tweet goes. Scott Adams, in numerous ways, has been able to replicate that as well. And this past week, however, the week beginning February 20th, things have not gone his way, and he has not been able to wriggle himself out of these gems. He has been quite jammed. And we should go to the Wednesday live stream. He does this show. What is it again? It's got some stupid, corny, boomer-esque, old school, like, talk show name. It's like, here it is. It's Coffee with Scott Adams. So he does this regular online live stream show where he shoots the shit, talks about whatever's on his mind, interacts with his viewers, much like I do on this show. However, you will not find the following content on this show, unless that is we are mocking it or directly playing the exact clip that got Scott Adams in trouble, which we will now do. So let's, excuse me, let's get into this clip. I mean, it really is the best way to show, because what you've been seeing online among the right this past week, as hundreds of newspapers have severed ties with Scott Adams and have kicked his newspaper comic strip Dilbert to the curb, the right has rallied behind Scott Adams to claim, oh, the media coverage of this, they've been keeping out the context. They're not discussing the context. I covered this for Mashable, and I delved into the context, exactly what Scott Adams was talking about. Every piece of coverage I've seen of this has also done the same, but I can't speak to every single media outlet out there because I've not read every single piece or aggregated piece of the Scott Adams getting canceled, quote unquote, that's out there. So I don't know if the right has found a single piece that's left out this context. But I've seen everyone discuss this context. So let's actually bring up the context first, and then we'll play the clip. So the context is pretty clear. It's not anything crazy. Let's get into it right now, right here. Let me pull up the. Okay, so here's the context. The really important stuff that's going to somehow save Scott Adams from being canceled. The context is that Rasmussen, the right-wing leaning pollster, put out the results of one of their most recent surveys. And the survey, the important part of this survey, and I've pulled up their tweet here because it cuts this part of the survey out, is that basically they asked the people who they surveyed for this in this poll how they felt about the phrase, "It's okay to be white." They asked, do you agree or disagree if it is okay to be white? Now, this is very obviously a loaded poll question. We could take this in two different ways here. Number one, it's important to understand the context of what this phrase means. It's okay to be white. It's not just some random phrase, and people listening to this show and this type of stuff I cover, they're probably familiar with this phrase because it's been discussed on this show before. And I've discussed the context around it. I've discussed many similar types of online memes and troll attempts of similar nature on this show. So if you're a regular listener, this is going to be sort of, oh, of course that's what this is, if you haven't already heard of this to begin with. But anyway, in 2017, like so many of these phrases begin, 4chan decided to put together some sort of troll campaign calling on people to use this phrase, "It's okay to be white." Print up flyers, post the phrase all around the internet in an attempt to, do what they usually do and create havoc on the internet. Now, we can talk whether this was just the work of a bunch of trolls who like to mess with everybody, and this was their latest troll attempt. We can discuss if the people who started this specific 4chan campaign are white supremacists themselves. That's completely a moot point, if you ask me. It doesn't really matter, because whatever the originators of this phrase's intent was, it was, like so many of these 4chan troll attempts end up, the route they end up going down, this phrase was quickly taken up by actual legitimate white supremacist personalities, known white supremacist personalities too, literal KKK members, neo-Nazis. If you have been following the far right and white supremacists and neo-Nazis over the years, You will be familiar with this phrase because it's printed up on banners as they march down the street, holding these banners up, saying it's okay to be white. They put these banners up on overpasses. It's been a rallying cry and a call to arms for white supremacists and neo-Nazis for some time now. So it is no longer, again, regardless of how it started, it is no longer just a 4chan troll attempt. It is a white supremacist phrase. And the ADL is onto it enough to consider this to be categorized as a hate symbol under their website. Now, we can look at it as a loaded question, being that whole background, people who are aware of this phrase and its origins and what it's been used for will likely not be okay with the phrase "it's okay to be white" when asked this question in a poll. We can also look at it in the other way. Let's say you have no idea what "it's okay to be white" means. What do you mean agree or disagree? See, pollsters have a way of asking certain questions that could lead people down a certain way, or they can be ridiculously vague to the point where you can't trust whatever the actual survey says in this poll. Because what does that mean? And if you look at the screenshot, at the tweet from Rasmussen, taking out this specific subsection, the demographic breakdown of the answers to this poll, you can see what I'm saying here. Black Americans only, when asked "it's okay to be white," 53% agree, 26% disagree, 21% not sure. Now, the 53% who agree with that phrase probably have no idea of its origins or anything about it. And they just, okay, I know white people, whatever. So they answer the question. The 26% who disagree, now I have no idea why they disagreed, but I'm going to assume that some of them probably know what that phrase means, being that it's plastered all over the place in news coverage of these very big, especially since 2017, like the Unite the Right rally that happened in Charlottesville. Excuse me, in Charlottesville. I mean, this phrase is everywhere. They know about this. If you've been reading the media coverage of it. So I'm assuming some of them knew. Now, 21% who are not sure, that's probably because, what does that mean? What does that mean to a black person being asked this? Is it okay for if I'm white? What? I don't agree with that, or I don't know what that is. That even what you mean? Like, it's such a vague question if you have no idea what the background is, or if you assume, or if you don't assume what the question is asking. Pollsters do this all the time. So there's really two sort of things here that you can just throw this poll in the trash, really. I mean, it's from Rassmussen, too. So, I mean, just throw it in the trash. It means nothing. But Scott Adams, the Dilbert creator, saw this poll. And even though with everything I said, every addendum and explanation I just added to all of this to give you guys context and background to why this poll would end up this way. Even with all that said, 53% of black Americans who were surveyed in this poll agreed. Now, I should also add that Scott Adams is also very angry over the opinions of 113 black people. That is the amount of, if you look at the demographic breakdown and like the actual survey, the poll from Rasmussen, and you see how many people they asked 113 black people this question. That's the results of this poll. This is what set him off. Regards to the fact that it's only 113 people and 53% still agreed. Let's play this fucking ridiculous clip now. This is from the Scott Adams live stream from, Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. And this is what has resulted in the Dilbert comic strip getting canceled by hundreds of newspapers across the country. Let's play this clip right now.
So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that. It's pretty ridiculous to say from to assume that this is some sort of broad outlook. It's, again, if you actually look at the poll, I just broke this down for you. I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. Calling every black American part of a hate group because of a Rassmussen poll that showed even this loaded question using a white supremacist rallying cry. The vast majority, not the vast, but a majority agreed. And again, 113 black Americans in total surveyed for this poll. But let's continue.
And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away.
I mean, Jesus Christ. What are you thinking when you say that? Like, what are you thinking? It just is astounding to think you would say that and there wouldn't be some blowback. I mean, listen, we could talk about how corny the Dilbert comic strip is and how it probably does have, like, spitballing here, like 98% of a fan base, if you could even call it that, who is white. But, like, to think that, like, you have no black viewers, black fans. I'm just looking at it from his point of view too. Like, let's not even get into the basics of just being a decent person and taking that outlook from the results of a fucking ridiculous Rasmussen poll. I mean, it just boggles the mind that someone who doesn't think these things through like this would then cry and whine about being canceled down the road. Canceled, quote unquote. Really, another word for the experiencing the consequences to my actions, which seems pretty just based on this. Let's continue.
Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population.
I mean, literally, who fucking cares, man? Like, what is wrong with you? I mean, we know who these white people are who have some sort of, I mean, I've never felt any allegiance to any other person because they're also white. It is never even. I just don't have. I don't get that at all. Honestly, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get white people who think that way. It just boggles my mind. But we know the type of white people who think that way, and they literally are white supremacists. I mean, it's literally in their slogans and their beliefs and white pride, all of that. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. It's ludicrous. And then he comes out and admits that that's why he lives where he lives. I mean, Christ almighty, man. Jeez. And he's just saying it so nonchalantly. And if any right-winger is going to try it, I think they're trying to do this, claim that there's some broader context, and there is a specific person who I mentioned at the very top, the opening of the show, who's trying to act like Scott Adams over here is being canceled for his comedy. I'm going to play like another 2 minutes of this clip so you completely understand. You already know the context he's talking about here, that Rassmussen poll. I'm going to play like a good portion of this clip so you will know that this is not part of some comedy routine from one of our genius comedic minds, a guy who writes a newspaper comic strip. This is not some sort of great comedic reveal at the end of this. The dude is talking from the heart here.
Because unfortunately, there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't.
First, I would love to know. Excuse me. I would love to know what the fuck the creator of Dilbert was doing to be helpful to black America. Did he inspire a Beyonce album? Like, is there something about Scott Adams we don't know? I would love to fucking know what the hell he thinks he's talking about. What has Scott Adams done to aid black America? I mean, from what it sounds like, he could be talking about, like, there's a black family who lives 2 blocks down the street and he let them borrow his hammer so they were working on their fence or some shit. Like, really bizarre. What did Scott Adams do for black America? Oh my God.
Doesn't seem like it pays off. Like, I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white. It's over.
It's so bizarre because, like, there are many people who go through life who are not called a racist by anyone, let alone black America. The secret to that is just by not being a racist. It seems like pretty like there's like a point A and point B and a direct correlation to the line being drawn there.
Don't even think it's worth trying. Totally not trying. And
all right, I have no idea what that cut there was. I'm assuming it's from whoever pulled this. I'll continue playing, but whatever was said there, I don't have. But he goes on here.
And there we go. You didn't expect that today, did you? But those who don't want to focus on education, you just need to get away from them. Just get as much distance as you can.
See, he's going on like this is not like there was some big reveal here. He's going back to it.
That's my recommendation. And I'm also really sick of seeing video after video of black Americans beating up non-black citizens.
Oh my God.
I realize it's anecdotal, and
really?
It doesn't give me a full picture of what's happening.
Really?
But every damn day I look on social media and there's some black person beating the shit out of some white person.
Yeah. You know what that means? You follow those fucking racist accounts on Twitter that are all over the place now since Elon Musk took over and acquired the company. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen them because at some point one or two of them have gotten retweeted onto your feed over the past, when did Elon Musk take over? The end of October, November, December, January, over the past 4 months. And then you know to fucking mute or block that account because you can directly see where this is going. And you don't see this anymore from those accounts. But clearly Scott Adams doesn't do that because he probably follows them, or at the very least enjoys consuming that content because he hasn't done anything to stop consuming that content. Yeah, that stuff is constantly in your feed because people with an agenda literally upload the same fucking 20 videos from the past 10 years and over all their little gimmick accounts constantly share those same 10 15-year-old videos over and over and over again. It's fucking ridiculous that you wouldn't see exactly why you're seeing these accounts in your feed and the content you're seeing. I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
I'm kind of over it. I'm over it. Right? So I quit.
See, so if you think about it, though, Scott Adams just personally, he just said it himself. He quits. He's over it. He quits. He canceled black people, right? So it's okay for Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, to for himself cancel black people. But it's not okay for the people who literally pay him, the various newspapers who syndicate his stupid-ass comic strip over the past 20 years, it's not okay, apparently, for them to choose to do the same to him. Because that's essentially what they're doing, right? Just like Scott Adams canceled him helping out black people in whichever way he fucking did. God, I still would love to hear that. These newspapers and these outlets are also deciding to cancel how they aid and help Scott Adams. Seems pretty clear cut, right? That one is doing the same to the other. If you're okay with what Scott Adams is saying, you should of course be okay with what the media is doing to Scott Adams, right? Right. Catch my drift here? No, probably not, because I mean, if you're a regular listener of the show, you're probably or if you think Scott Adams is in the wrong here, you catch my drift. But if you're a Scott Adams defender, you probably don't, because it's not within your wheelhouse to understand that, I assume, I guess. Now let's go to some comments and quotes here from people who, because there's some interesting, I thought some of the outlets that put out some good statements. I'll just read like a sentence or two from a few statements. Let me pull myself up back on the feed. And let's see these statements here. So, the editor of the Plain Dealer of Cleveland.com. So the outlet's called the Plain Dealer, but their website is Cleveland.com. Editor Chris Quinn said Scott Adams, creator of the Dilbert comic strip, went on a racist rant this week on his Coffee with Scott Adams online video show, and we will no longer carry his comic strip in the Plain Dealer. This is not a difficult decision. Adams said black people are a hate group, citing a recent Rassmussen survey, which he said shows nearly half of all black people do not agree with the phrase "it's okay to be white." Adam, and he continues, I'll skip over, basically just runs down what happened, and I already did that. This is a decision based on the principles of this news organization and the community we serve. We are not a home for those who espouse racism. We certainly do not want to provide them with financial support. I mean, you can't get any clearer than that. The LA Times, in an editorial, the Times has decided to cease publication of Dilbert. Cartoonist Scott Adams made racist comments in a YouTube live stream February 22nd, offensive remarks that the Times rejects. On top of that, apparently, the distributor of his comic, the Andrews McMeel Universal firm, has severed ties with Adams. Apparently, Adams has also lost a book deal. His book agent or publisher, I forget which, maybe both, has also dropped him. These are the repercussions of doing something that people you do business with do not want to associate with. It's pretty simple. It's pretty clear cut. I mean, this isn't even like it seems for at least some of these people that it is a decision that resonates within their true feelings, within their heart of hearts. But even if it doesn't, this is just basic business 101. If you think this guy is going to be bad for your business, you don't go into business with him. So they are cutting ties with him as a pretty clear business decision. You got a problem with that? Take it up with capitalism. Right-wingers. Now, if you're wondering how Scott Adams has been taking this, he's this is the first tweet. She's been going and doing a bunch of tweets, but this is the first tweet he posted since over the weekend, and this stuff had time to settle, and all these, shoes dropped, and he had all these people cut ties with him. He goes, I mean, what is this guy thinking? I've lost three. This is Scott Adams. I've lost 3 careers to direct racism so far. Really weird flex there, buddy. I've been so racist over the years. This is actually the 3rd time I've lost jobs. Crocker Bank, Pacific Bell, and cartooning. This is Adams laying down what the jobs he's had that he's lost due to his apparent racism over the years. I wouldn't be something I would admit to if I was a racist. Well, maybe I guess if you were a proud racist, you would admit to it. It's like a resume builder, right? But if you're trying to defend yourself, that's a bizarre point to make. All 3 were perpetrated by white people for their own gain, said Scott Adams. No black person has ever discriminated against me. Oh, you see, he's trying to do the whole, no, I'm actually calling out white people for their racism. Black people, I'm still cool with black people. Scott Adams is, that's the gist of what he's saying here in this tweet. But then you get to the last line here. So he says, no black person has ever discriminated against me. And then he ends it with this gem. That's partly why I identified as black for several years. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I mean, it's really... It's ridiculous. What do you say to someone like that? Really? What do you say to someone like that? I mean, it's just who they are, right? It's just who they are. I was just checking because I have someone said they're having an audio lagging issue. I'll try to fix it in the second half if I could do anything. I mean, just ridiculous. I just wanted to also point this out because I looked into this and I mentioned the background with It's Okay to Be White, and I'm sure there's going to be right-wingers who argue that, who says it's an anti-Semitic phrase? It's a white supremacist, it's also an anti-Semitic phrase, trust me. But it's who says it's a white supremacist phrase? Well, if you haven't seen all those usages of it out on the ground at these rallies, maybe you'll take it from David Duke, who has been his suspended Twitter account, but these have been archived. The dude has used this phrase quite a while. Yeah. Here he is literally just tweeting it out. It's okay to be white. Hashtag it's okay to be white. David Duke, former Grand Wizard of the KKK. And he's done it a lot. I'm literally, if you're listening to the podcast, I'm literally just scrolling through. We're now on tweet 3, tweet 4, tweet 5, tweet 6, tweet 7, tweet 8. Oh, look, it's on his website, too. A post on his website. It's okay to be white campaign sweeping the nation. November 2017. Just to give you an example of how quickly it was, it went from 4chan troll campaign to actual use by white supremacists. What's the history of this? Please. And now let's get to Mr. Musk. So, surprise, surprise, right-wingers are defending Scott Adams. And one of those people who is defending Adams and also now a right-winger, or probably much longer than he admits, almost for sure, but he pretends he wasn't, but clearly moving further and further to the right over the past couple of years. One, the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, Twitter, Elon Musk. So Scott Adams, I believe this was Friday, he tweets out a post on Twitter criticizing a reporter for sharing the article about Dilbert being dropped by a number of newspapers. Adam says he's a day behind on this story. Awkward. I don't know what he's doing there. But Elon Musk chimes in. What exactly are they complaining about? So I guess Elon Musk wasn't aware of the whole situation. Busy guy. There's nothing wrong with asking, although I would likely, if I was the world's richest man, or whether he is now or not, who cares? But if I was Elon Musk, or if I was literally the poorest man on the planet, what I would do before asking such a question on social media was I'd probably look it up myself. I'd probably use a search engine like Google and literally type in Scott Adams and click the little news tab and update myself about why Scott Adams is complaining about his comic strip Dilbert being dropped by hundreds of newspapers across the country. But he asked this question. And not long after, Musk deleted the question. Now, I thought at the time, maybe Musk, again, don't care what's in his heart of hearts. My assumption would have been, his heart of hearts is probably feeling for Scott Adams, but doesn't matter. I assumed he deleted the tweet upon finding out why Scott Adams was being quote-unquote canceled by newspapers and thinking, oh, this is something that looks bad and it would reflect badly on my companies, Tesla, SpaceX, and Twitter. Yes, I know Elon Musk's history. I know where he was born, where his family's from, his dad with the mine, and South Africa, and of course the history of Tesla and numerous black employees, or former black employees, I should say, blowing the whistle on the company and suing the company for the racism and racist abuse they experienced during their time with Tesla. One such case resulted in a man being awarded something like $137 million by a jury of his peers before a judge reduced the verdict to $15 million. But that man rejected that amount and is now taking Tesla back to court. So yeah, Musk got a history here. But regardless, I thought, oh, he deleted it. He don't want any more trouble. He found out what happened. He's like, all right, I'm out of here. Very Musk. Wouldn't surprise me, but that's what I thought. And sadly, that would have been the best case scenario. that would have been, for what actually happened, that would have been not bad. That would have been, that would have been preferable if you were probably someone working at Tesla, SpaceX, or Twitter. Preferable, certainly, if you're a investor in a company like Tesla. But that's not what he did. It's not what he did at all. Elon Musk decided to defend Scott Adams. So this right-wing account, Monitoring Bias, quote tweets a San Francisco Chronicle article, again, about why Scott Adams had his comic strip canceled by newspapers and what he said in his rant on his live stream. And this right-wing account goes, Adams was horrified that a poll of black people showed only half believe it's okay to be white. He called this hate and recommended white people live far away from blacks. Mainstream media verdict, Adams is a racist, but not the 20 million black people who think it's not okay to be white. Again, this is a poll of 113 people. 113 black people. And this poll literally doesn't show anything at all what this person running this far-right account is framing it as. It's just fucking ridiculous. But Elon Musk, because he likely follows this account, replies, the media is racist. For a very long time, U.S. media was racist against non-white people. Now they're racist against whites and Asians. Same thing happened with elite colleges and high schools in America. Maybe they can try not being racist. This is fucking ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Anyone who watches the media can see it is still predominantly a white industry in every way, in which way and form, literally from the top down. It's not even like, oh, it's we got a bunch of white executives, ruling over predominantly people of color, entry level employee base. No, it's just not the case. Sorry to disappoint the racists out there. Same with elite colleges and high schools. They are still predominantly by far white. That's just the case. That's just the truth. That's just the facts. What they get upset over are the stories of, oh my God, admissions, they're more diverse. There was an uptick of 13%. And then you dig into the numbers, and that 13% uptick is like they accepted 8 more black people, Latinos, natives over the course of the year or something like that. It's fucking ridiculous what they frame this shit as. It's just not the case. Every elite institution is still predominantly white. There is no anti-white racism going. I mean, we could even put aside the fact that we could even talk about that not existing to begin with. But to even go on their level here, to wade down in their muck, there's no racism going on against white people, holding them back from media institutions or elite colleges and high schools. Bullshit. And then Musk, of course, goes further. He tries to, this is a reply to a tweet, again, defending Scott Adams. This person said something like, I don't like how Scott Adams said it, but he's got a kernel. Actually, I have the exactly what was said here. Where is it? Give me 1 second. Here it is. Scott is right, but the way he expressed his point wasn't smart. Because, and then just all these bullshit defenses that clearly, if you just watch the clip, it just doesn't fucking work in any other context. So Musk says, I don't agree with everything Scott says, but Dilbert is legit funny and insightful. We should stop canceling comedy. I mean, first of all, red flag at this guy finding Dilbert legit funny and insightful. It's the same comic strip every fucking day for the past 20 years. Guy hates his bosses. They're incompetent. Ha ha ha. That's the joke. Every single strip. But this is also coming from a guy who thinks that Rick and Morty and 8-year-old Doge memes are top tier comedy. So I guess it's part of the course. But look how Musk is making it sound like that Adams was trying something creative in his comic strip. And it was like something that happened, like a joke gone wrong or a joke taken the wrong way in the Dilbert comic strip that got it canceled. Which is obviously would be more palatable to people who are unaware of what's going on than the truth. And that is the Dilbert creator in a live stream completely unrelated to the comic strip, completely unrelated to Dilbert, completely unrelated to comedy, went on a racist tirade calling black people a hate group, black Americans, let me be specific here, a hate group, and telling white people to stay the hell away from black people. Went on to say that's why he lives where he lives, so he stays away from black people. And going forward, he will no longer, again, I would love to know what the hell he meant by this, what he's done, but he still said it. He will no longer aid fellow black Americans in any way. Because apparently he gets nothing out of it. He just gets called a racist. Just really bizarre shit. Bizarre shit from Adams. Bizarre shit from Musk. Just so fucking bizarre. So bizarre. So weird. 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 Why do this? Why do this? Why say this? All right, folks. That's the show. What more can you say about this? Really? I hope I at least explained everything. To anyone who I'm sure, let me fix my camera. It's a little out of focus. I'm sure you got family members jumping in to your Facebook feeds, your in-person get-togethers, whatever, saying, "Oh, you heard what happened to Dilbert? My favorite comic, Dilbert. You heard what happened to Dilbert?" And hopefully, if you weren't aware, this gives context to it, so you can explain. Did you hear what this guy actually said? All right. Once again, patreon.com/Matt Binder. I enjoy all the live chats right now going, no, we need more context. Give me more context for this, because that's what the right is claiming. Patreon.com/Matt Binder to support this show. Excuse me. Once again, if you become a subscriber, that would be super great. Lost a few subscribers this week. We've been on a roll, actually. We were doing good because, like I said, at the beginning of the year, we lost a bunch because times are tough. But then we were on a roll for a week earlier this month where we got a bunch back. But then we had some more cancellations. Again, all the exit surveys this past week signal people are still going through tough times, job loss, totally get it. Take care of yourself and your family if you're in that situation. This is just a call for support from people who can afford to do so. Who are, maybe you've been thinking about subscribing to some streamer or podcaster or YouTuber or whatever, and you're like, who should I subscribe to? And this is me saying, me. Patreon.com/MattBinder. And thank you to the patrons who signed up over the past couple of weeks. Let me give a shout out to Amanda, Gerald G, Fatty A, Dylan W, Matthew C, Mark, Jay Coco, and Jamie C. Thank you so much, all of you, for becoming patrons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now, youtube.com/MattBinder, twitch.tv/MattBinder, drop your Twitch, if you want, if you got a Twitch Prime subscription, be sure to sign up. Got a bunch of Prime subscribers right now. Ooh, thank you all. Let me, really quick, do we have time? How long have we got here on the feed? Let's do it really quick. Nug Wrangler resubscribed with Prime, subscribed for 13 months. Left is best, says Nug. Thank you so much. One Less Name resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Subscriber for 7 months. Thank you so much. Piccolo subscribed with Prime. Thank you. New Prime subscriber. Thank you. Missy in the Dot gave out a community gift sub. Thank you. Definitely Ramino subscribed with Prime. Thank you. Valinova cheered 500 bits. Thank you so much. Ooh, Hype Train is close over on Twitch. Get in now, folks. Fiddle Faddle 23 subscribe with Prime. Corn Pop for Prez resubscribe with Prime. 9 months. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let's now. Oh, was there any super chats? Let me check. No super chats. I guess people are the YouTubers being especially cheap today. No, I'm just joking. Let's go to the second half of the show. I'm gonna open up Skype lines. Open up Skype. You could do so if you download Skype. You could do so on Skype for web. Search Doomed Live, and you could call into this show. You can also, what else can you do? Again, I'll read the super chats. I'm gonna continue reading the Twitch chats with the subscriptions, and I'll take your calls in the second half of the show. You are all welcome. You don't have to do anything. This will immediately go to that second half. This is just me saying goodbye to the audio podcast listeners who just listened to the freebie first half of the show. Everyone else, from Patreons to the live stream viewers, will be able to join me now on this second half. I'm going to just quickly take a quick break, stretch, maybe find a cough drop, refill my drink. Doing pretty good on the coughing, right? And I'll be back in less than a minute. For those freebie podcast listeners, that's where I say right now, I'll see you all next time on Doomed. Today on Doomed.
Ecological collapse, corporate fascism, corporate journalism, police brutality, voter suppression, austerity economics, education masses, rampant homophobia,
We got our first caller. Hey, what are you calling from?
What's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to be talking about today?
I don't think you are exactly what you claim you are. I would say you're a conservative. What makes you a liberal? I'm pro-Green New Deal. Are you? Yes, really? Absolutely. No, I have watched the show. I've seen you completely come out and get really mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for some of the things in the Green New Deal.
You mean like free college for black people?
We are back. Welcome everyone to the second half of Doomed with Matt Binder, where I take your comments and your calls and your various other I don't know what. Oh, I should put myself up on the screen, shouldn't I? That would be helpful. That would be something worth doing. Oh, I should say added a new member of the family this week. We are now a family of me, my partner, my son, my daughter, our cat, and now our dog. That's right. We got a dog. It's been a while since I had a dog. I've grown up with dogs my whole life. I got a dog my first dog when I was 3 years old. I was begging my parents for siblings and they got me a dog. And also I went on to have 3 siblings later on too. And then, when my first dog passed away, we got another family dog. And then, when me and my partner met, she had 2 dogs. So we had a total of 3 dogs technically at one point. And then the final dog in our family passed away in 2018. So we've been without dog since 2018. I've had 2 cats since. We just have 1 cat now. But I was never a cat person. I became a cat person after adopting our first cat in 2013, and I've been a cat person since. And I will say that while I like this dog very much, I definitely think I'm full-blown cat person now. I think it's not saying I don't like the dog. Again, this dog is part of the family. We're gonna be. I'm a dog person, whether I like it or not. But I think I'm at the age now where I like cats better. Type of dog we adopted. I had no idea this breed existed whatsoever. I don't know if you'll have ever heard of this breed. It's called a Catahoula. They are a breed that originated in Louisiana. In fact, the dog himself, the actual dog, was rescued from a center in Louisiana. Can I pull a pic up? Let me see. I don't have the pics on my phone, I don't think, but let me see. Maybe I do. Maybe there's one in my email. Let me see. It's not the best pick. But I'll throw the pic up. I'll get you guys a better picture next time. This is our dog, who does not yet have a name. Leaving that up to the 7-year-old and the 3-year-old to come up with a name. He is very young. I'm not bringing the dog on live, Father, because then I won't have a microphone or a camera or a keyboard or anything in this room anymore. Because he is only 10 weeks old, I believe. They think he's somewhere between 9 and 11 weeks, so I'll just say 10. And he is teething on everything. Our poor cat, Sabu, has about half the toys he had before we got the dog just yesterday. He is currently in his training, what is it called? Crate. The training crate. He's in bed for the rest of the night. Name-wise, the shelter gave him the name Henry, which is a fine name for a dog, but we sort of feel like we got a breed that's originated in Louisiana. The dog himself is from Louisiana. We feel like he needs a nice, like, Cajun-esque name, no? My son, he suggested the name Sammy. But that's also my sister's name. So I don't know if we'll be naming the dog after my sister. Yeah, we thought Remy or Renee. I suggested naming the dog Vampire Bill. Gambit is one, right? I think my dad suggested Gumbo, which is not really a name. I'm sorry, Pops. Another suggestion I had was, the cat's name is Sabu. And after the ECW wrestler, Sabu. And in ECW, Sabu's tag team partner was RVD. So I suggested we name the dog RVD, which of course would stand for not Rob Van Dam, but this is the dad joke here, Rob Van Dog. So we would have RVD and Sabu. My partner suggested, my wife suggested Benoit, which I can't do. I can't name a dog Benoit, because here's the deal. I will always think of Chris Benoit when I hear that name, regardless of it being like a French, not Canadian, it's French Canadian because he's French Canadian, Chris Benoit, but a French name. But on top of that, our cat's name is Sabu. So anyone hearing both will immediately have to assume it just makes total sense. Like maybe we just had a dog named Benoit and a cat named Charlie or something. Maybe they didn't name the dog after the wrestler who murdered his wife and kid and then killed himself. But if you have a cat named Sabu and you name your dog Benoit, everyone's going to think you named your dog after the wrestler. There's no getting around it. And on top of that, Benoit and Sabu wrestled each other in ECW, and in a famous ECW moment, Chris Benoit broke Sabu's neck in a move that went wrong. So I don't want to wish into existence my dog mauling my cat because my dog is Benoit and my cat is Sabu. So gonna go, with that, yeah. I was thinking Logan. Logan could be one too, right? Kowalski. I'll read some names here. Renee. Bed Lefty said Renee. Choking on Ashes says Chokey. Bo says Mama Roo, which Bo is also a possibility, right? Kowalski says just call him Cajun. Satchmo says TB. A few people said Gambit. Gary says, I don't even know how to say this name, but I know what name you're saying. Beauregard, right? Beauregard, something like that, right? Lafayette, that's a good one, Sid. Lafayette. People liking Gumbo. I don't know. Why is my green screen doing that right now? It's not very good. I don't know what's going on. Am I not in the we got what else? Charlemagne says Bob. Bourbon says Tweaky or Tweakel. Josh, are you suggesting we name the dog Balls? Oh, like Balls Mahoney. That could be not bad. Michael suggests Rufus. Josh, a different Josh. Josh A suggests James Carville. Oh my God, he does look a little bit like a James Carville. Storm Shadow says Taz. Kowalski with another suggestion. Name him God. I don't know about that. Sharif Brandon. Let's go Brandon, right? Fido says Muggsy. Oh, we're getting a lot of names. Snoopy says Bad Lefty. Jean Baptiste says Josh. Sid says Voodoo. Remy, I think is. I was actually looking up like what some like Cajun names are, and you'd be surprised. Some of these names are I've never heard of before in my life. Honestly, I thought like Remy and those type of things, but like I looked it up, like Hibbert, Landry, Brassard, LeBlanc. Oh, these are surnames though, but still. I was like, whoa, those are. Here's some Cajun first names: Candide, Basil, or Basile, or I don't know, Sebastian, Wolfgang, Ava, Berenguer, Vivian. Well, Vivian's a girl's name. Could be a guy's name too, I guess. I don't know. Roach. Don't know anyone who has these names. Bruno is an Cajun name. I didn't know that. He looks like Bruno a little bit, maybe. Buford says Robbie. Soren Wilby. Kowalski says with a let me read some super chats. We got some coming in. Aaron with just a $5 super chat, just a super sticker. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Kowalski with a super chat for $100 super chat. Matt will let you name your dog. Listen, if it was my dog and my dog alone, I would consider that. But it's the kid. It really, like, listen, I know this dog's gonna end up looking at the two adults or one of the two adults in the house as its main owner. That's how my dog is looked at, my dad. But it's the kid's dog. That's why we got the dog. The kids really wanted a dog. I felt bad. My son was born into a house that already had a dog and a cat. We had one dog and one cat. The last dog that was still left, honestly, because we had so many dogs at the same time throughout both sides of the family. Since the day he was born. But sadly, she was old then, and she passed away when he was about 3 or so years old. So he's gone 3 or 4 years without a dog. So I felt bad because I had dogs growing up, and he's been asking for one. And my daughter's 3, so that's the age when I got a dog. So it's really their call at the end of the day. As long as they don't call the dog Benoit, because I'm not going to let that fly. It's not going to happen. Not with the cat named Sabu. There's no way you can claim that you weren't naming it after the wrestler when you have a cat named Sabu. Let's go to the phones. Search Doomed Live. Really, really interesting how this happens. There'll be a show where there'll be 100 calls coming in at once. Not really 100, but like a dozen or so calls coming in at once. And I can't take everybody. And then there's a date like today. Where apparently everyone is logged out of Skype and no one's calling in, which is fine. Well, we can talk about the dogs. We can talk about the dog, I should say. There's not dogs with an S, just a dog. Name him Dilbert, says Adar. Emmy says Dogbert. It's a possibility. Certainly a possibility. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
There you go.
Whoa. That was loud.
Okay.
Whoa. You okay there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. There was like not even your voice. It was just like you picked up the phone and there was just like crazy amount of static and it was really loud. But everything's good now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Matt, it's Josh from California. I felt bad because you were begging for calls. So.
Oh, I'm begging for calls now. Jeez. Make me sound desperate. What would you like to talk about, Josh? Or are you just calling in because I'm so desperate for calls?
Well, yeah, that too. But no, first you should go with Dogbert.
Dogbert's pretty good, but it's probably not gonna happen. But
No.
pretty good. Again, if this was my dog, I'd probably name him 5 different things, so I could get $500. But it's not. So
No, but the balls thing was a reference to Archer. So there was a character named Benoit, and every time the guy said his name, Archer would just say balls.
Oh, okay. I don't watch Archer, honestly. I prefer Bob's Burgers as my John Benjamin.
Wanna
intake.
suck.
Yeah.
But the only thing I really wanted to talk about is like this ongoing thing in or the disaster, and really the response to it in East Palestine is just such.
Wait, isn't it pronounced differently? Isn't it pronounced
Palestine? Sorry.
Palestine, right? Yeah. No, it's. I mean,
Yeah,
you could be talking about something else. I don't know, but
Ohio has, well, there's that too, the Gaza and all the fight that's going on constantly. But excuse me. No, the response is just so typically like a failure of optics by the Democrats. Like whenever they're in power at all, they are so bad at connecting with people, and it's so frustrating to watch.
it's really simple stuff. Like if Trump's got it down, and listen, it's clear that this was pure politics and to get a good visual, and he wasn't even like trying to hide what he was doing down there. He was literally handing out MAGA hats.
Yeah.
But listen, people like that shit. Honestly. He was giving out free meals. Can I tell you, how much I enjoy a free meal. There is
Yeah.
nothing better than a free meal. A free Big Mac from McDonald's is the equivalent to me paying for a gourmet meal at the finest steakhouse because it's free.
Yeah.
So I
No.
can imagine how people in that situation feel about it. I'm not in that, I'm not, being that I'm very, I'm in this world and I understand it. I wouldn't personally fall for that. I would take my free Big Mac from Trump, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't, that wouldn't work on me, I should say. But I totally understand how it works on everyday, ordinary citizens who are not entrenched in this world.
Yeah, especially if you feel like none of them give a fuck about you. Then at least, it's the same shit that happened in 2016. A lot of them knew he was lying to them, but he actually went to their towns or whatever and showed up and pretended to care about their issues. And she was like, "You're gonna lose your job. Fuck it." Like,
Listen, he makes these people feel good by just how he acts. It's that simple. Whether it's doing something like this, or the strongman routine where they all feel like they have a daddy, even if they're 90 years old and their daddy's been dead for 50 years. He gives them what they want, and they want a strong, authoritarian leader who feeds them exactly what they want to hear because it makes them feel good. It's literally like they literally project all the time. It's feelings over facts for them being the ultimate snowflakes, but that's what they want, and he gives it to them, and that's literally all the Democrats have to do, but they don't want to do that.
Well, because they're all, and people get very frustrated about the both sides shit, and it's not. I mean, both sides are not the same. Certainly, if you're black or trans or whatever.
Oh no, I'm not saying both sides
But
are.
no,
I never
but
say that, but
I'm prefacing.
but one side clearly knows how to play the game of politics that the other doesn't.
I'm using that to preface a point, which is that a lot of the Democrats that exist now are basically just the stuffed shirt, uncool, like Republicans that existed in the 80s and 90s. Like, they're inauthentic corporate, like everything's polished and boring and focus tested and whatever, and people see through that shit. And so like that is, and also people see through the, oh well, we care about you, but like, sorry, we're gonna settle the rail strike this way, and we're gonna do this. It's always, we have two parties of big business now. I mean, and we have for 40 years or whatever, since they got their ass kicked by Reagan and they learned the wrong lessons. But, it's people remember this stuff, and it's also just inauthentic. Nobody wants fucking Mayor Pete to come to their town and tell them how everything's going to be all right, because when he speaks, nobody believes his shit. Like, he doesn't believe what he's saying, so how can anybody else? And we have
Excuse you, speak for yourself. Who doesn't want Mayor Pete coming to their town?
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot that you have a long-standing love affair with Nancy Pelosi, so you would be Mayo Pete's target audience. Apologize. I'm sure you want to dance with him in his next video about how you have high hopes or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that is one of the reasons or one of the advantages, as much as a schmuck as he is, that Biden has, is he sounds like he believes what he's talking about. Like, right. a lot of what he says is shitty.
Right.
Like, but he believes what he's saying, or at least he sounds like he believes what he's saying, and he sounds like, I mean, what focus group other than one of Trump's maybe is gonna say, yeah, I really want you to challenge a union worker to a fight outside your rally?
You know what the weird thing is? Like, Biden is actually pretty good in situations like that. Like he's able to like if you sent Biden down there, he would have done the same thing that Trump did, and even probably even better than Trump, because Biden, when you listen, whatever you think of Joe Biden, and you could think a lot of things about him, I certainly do. He has a history of being really good in this on the campaign trail when it comes to meeting face to face with people. I mean, there's that classic moment not too long ago when he went down to Florida, and there's that hilarious photo where it's Chad Biden laughing at getting like this biker couple to laugh it up with him, and then an angry virgin Ron DeSantis walking by because no one's talking to him because no one likes him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and again, like that's one of the things that I mean, and they'll fall in line and vote for him if he ends up being the nominee. But that's one of the things that, like, with DeSantis that he doesn't seem to get, and a lot of the press that wants to move on from Trump doesn't seem to get, is that, like, he's a pale imitation. It's very obvious that he's doing an impression and that he doesn't believe any of the shit that he's saying. It's the same it's the same problem, right?
Here's the picture I'm talking about. I confused the biker photo with another picture of Biden hanging out with bikers. But
Yes.
Here is the Chad Biden Virgin DeSantis photo. It is fucking hilarious.
And as Chat pointed out, I really
Look at Biden yucking. He got his arm around the woman, yucking it up with, literally like yucking it up with what I assume is the lady's husband, as Biden has his arm around the guy's wife, and Ron DeSantis arm straight down, literally doing the virgin walk in that meme. It is hilarious.
Sad old meatball Ron. That's never not going to be funny to me, by the way. Just calling him meatball Ron. I know it's supposedly offensive to Italians or whatever, but he is absolutely nobody likes this guy. They like what he does to people, but it's not the same thing.
Right. Oh, let me quickly thank, I just saw Dylan Burns, who was on this show last week. Dylan Burns just rated me. Thank you so much, Dylan. And hello to Dylan Burns' Twitch viewers. Be sure to follow me on here while you're here. And what I'm doing right now is just the call-in portion of the show. If you'd like to go back to the Twitch replay, or I'm also multicasting. I'm streaming on YouTube as well. If you want to go back earlier in the feed and watch my breakdown of what got Dilbert creator Scott Adams canceled and why Elon Musk is defending him, you could go check that out. But right now I'm taking calls. You can call in. Just open up Skype via the web or the app and search Doomed Live, one word, Doomed Live, and you can call into the show. I'll take the calls as they come in. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about, Josh?
No, I mean, it's like I said, it's just the response it's the same. It's the same shit they did out here in California with and I mean, it wasn't an emergency by any means, although there were actually a number of towns cut off in the mountains and stuff because of the rain. But it took them forever to get on site, and when they did, it just it wasn't authentic at all. And it's just the Democratic Party has a real problem with understanding there's a limit to the number of people in the suburbs and the number of people who care about the professionalism and your appearance as a business person or whatever at this point. And there's this misunderstanding of what appeals to people, and I don't know if that's because there's such an entrenched consultant class like Nomiki used to talk about all the time on Tuesdays when she was on the Majority Report, I don't know if that's the problem or if it's just that that's who runs for office in the Democratic Party or what, but it's just there's something wrong, and it's gonna continue to be a problem for a long time unless they figure out how to get better people to run. So I don't know.
All right.
It's really frustrating. That's all I want to say.
I hear you. It's listen, they just gotta. It's. There's a lot that needs to be done with the Democratic Party. A lot of changes got to be made, but the most simple thing that will actually help them win elections is the easiest thing for them to change. Let's just at least pretend to care. Literally, just show that they care by doing some of these things. Whether they, and the weird thing is, I don't even think they don't do it because they think it's corny or they don't like the inauthenticity. Like, I would get if that was it. I would still disagree. I'd say you got to do this shit. But that's not even the thing. They just don't think it matters because they're just so detached from the reality of the situation.
Yeah, and that's a lot of it. Hey, what's her face? Feinstein was up until a couple of months ago thought she was going to run again. Like, how detached for every...
Hell, even when they put out when her people put out the statement saying she wasn't going to run again, that day after that statement was out, she didn't realize she wasn't going to run again. she was asked by that day, the statement came out, then a few hours later she was asked by a reporter for her feelings on not running again, and she goes something like to the effect of, well, I never said I wasn't running again. And then the staff had to tell her that the statement went out. And she was like, oh, I didn't know it went out.
Oh, boy, if that's not like the Democratic Party in a nutshell. It's just sclerotic beyond belief. But anyways, I'll let you get to their callers.
All right. Thanks for the call, Josh. Always a pleasure. Peace. Bloop, bloop. Let's go to the next call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi. Hello?
Hello. Hey, is this Cameron?
You're picking me up all right on the microphone?
Yep, you sound good. Oh, you just popped up on the feed. You look good. I like the hat.
Oh, thank you. I've been wearing this hat many, many times that I've appeared on this stream, and it's very nice of you to have, for once, noticed.
You've not worn this hat on the stream before. Lies.
I'm pretty sure probably at least half a dozen times.
I don't think so.
It's very nice that, for once someone would pay any notice to. But that's, I heard that you had acquired somebody's dog, right?
Wait, hold on a second. I just got to point out, are you cosplaying as Steve Bannon right now? How many layers of clothing are you wearing right now?
I'm wearing a t-shirt and, what do you call it? Like a long sleeve polo shirt, like a rugby shirt or whatever.
Right.
Tommy Hill, of course.
And then?
And then I'm wearing an English hunting jacket.
Is it cold where you are? I know you're in Canada, but is it really that cold where you are indoors right now?
Yeah, my door is broken.
Your door is wide open?
It's broken. It's not wide open.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Your door is broken. Could it close?
Never mind what it means. I don't want to. There are some things that it's just like, never mind what it means. You don't need to know these things.
All right.
Like you question me about them, but
all right. So let's get back to the dog. You said
dog thing. Like
yeah. I adopted it. The family here adopted a dog. That's right. Yep. We adopted. We had to pay an adoption fee and the whole. Yeah.
Why didn't you come to me?
What?
Why didn't you come to me?
Why you got your breeder?
You know that I can get you a dog on the cheap.
I know. How would I know that?
Because of all the things I've disclosed to you that are clearly illegal about my previous business practices.
Oh, right.
Obviously, I would be I'm the type of scuzzy criminal person that would be able to get you a dog.
Were there some dogs down in those crypto mines?
Well, my neighbor doesn't have a dog anymore, I'll tell you that much. And
it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
But I did want to give you a few names, like, because I can't have any kids because I'd be too much of a bad influence on him. But
Okay.
I still love the idea of
My
naming.
condolences for not being able to have kids for that
Yeah,
reason.
it is tragic, but you know, global warming, whatever. I can come up with a lot of.
No, I don't like that one. Don't use that one. I always tell
I'm
people that's
sorry.
too much. That's you're people are. I know you're joking, but dealing with when people actually say that shit because that's actually the excuse sometimes. It's like don't become an eco-fascist just because you don't
No,
want to have kids. Don't use that excuse. And if you really believe that, you need to
if I
drop
wanted to
that. 'Cause
have
that's
kids,
silly,
I'd have
people.
kids. I only.
Cameron's reason of being a bad influence himself is a much better reason not to have kids, quite frankly.
Yeah, the choices I've made and the results they've had on my personality would make me feel uncomfortable being the figure by which a child's psychological development um, uh, evolves itself based around. Uh, but that's not why I came on here to give you the names. So I wanted to give you some good old Cape Breton names. You know Cape Breton?
No.
It's the place where people pretend to be Scottish,
Okay.
and all of them have names. These great names, like Angus Douglas Huey, or Huey Robert McIsaac,
Oh, okay.
or Douglas Hewis Angus Lewitt, Glenlivet, Blue Ribbon.
I follow. Let's spit it out. Let's get to some names.
Anyway, that was my first example. The second thing was that I think I had agreed upon, at least with one person, was that you should name this dog after Argentine author, magical realist, William Gibson called him uh, to paraphrase, the bridge between modernism and postmodernism. Short story author and poet Jorge Luis Borges, who wrote such stories as The Garden of Forking Paths, The Aleph, um, um, Pierre Menard, author of The Quixote. And that way you would be doing, you've established multiple times that you're not white, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I've never established that whatsoever.
I might have it backwards. I have a problem with my eyes,
It's all right.
but and my ears and my brain. But I thought that you were a gentleman from south of the border, and that you might like to represent.
No, it's not me. You must be thinking of some other streamer you enjoy watching.
Sam Cedar, probably.
Right, yeah.
I
He's
get that
definitely
mixed up a lot.
you get that in the name, right?
The third one was that I heard about this guy Dilbert, and they were saying like Dogbert, like name it Dogbert. That seems to be important. Poor taste to name it after Dogbert, right? Because after what we know about this Dilbert writer's
Yeah, you probably don't
credentials,
want to. You're right. Don't
his
want to name my
ethical
dog after
backbone.
the racist comic
Yeah.
book writer's creation. Right.
But he did have a
Comic
good,
strip writer, I should say.
he was consulting a poll, and it's always good to consult a poll. So I think that, we learn a lesson from him. Don't name it Dogbert. That's offensive. But do name it after a poll, because then you can always consult it. So I was thinking you name it Pol Pot.
Okay, I was thinking maybe little Rasmussen after the pollster who took that poll that Scott Adams was mad about. Come here, Rasmussen. Here, boy.
We don't want to offend the Polish people now because of the situation in Eastern Europe, but I think that you should name this dog Pol Pot. I'll leave you on that point, and we'll touch base in the next couple of weeks, and I'll talk to your caseworker, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, Cameron. Always great to talk with you, my friend. Bloop, bloop. All right, let's go to just just missed that caller. Feel free to call back in. Let's go to the read all the super chats so far. Still could drop a super chat and I'll read it. What time is it right now? Oh. Oh. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello. Try calling back in, okay? I see your name. I'll take your call as soon as you call back in. I'm going to take another caller right now while I'll try to fix whatever issue that is. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. What's your name again? I'm sorry.
Hassan, we met last week for the first time.
Hassan, yes, I remember you. Of course, I remember you. I just
From
wanted to make
Waterloo.
sure. I wanted to hear your name so I knew how to pronounce it and everything. One more time. Can I pull your video up on the feed?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm doing good. How are you?
First thing before I forget, do you remember someone told you to watch, what was it, Battlestar Galactica, the new series, the 2004 version?
I do remember someone saying that. I did not watch it.
Yeah, okay. So I know that you said that you didn't really like that genre of science fiction, and, everyone to their own, right? But try watching a few clips of it, especially the ones that have Edward James Olmos in them, and see if you like the vibe, because it's not really science fiction. It's more about people, and it's quite an interesting story. So I highly recommend it. Watch a few clips, see if you like it, and then maybe go into half of the first season. So maybe, you never know, right?
Right. I will give it a try. I will give it a try.
Okay. So what can we talk about today? Let's see. So there's a whole bunch of things that are happening right now, right? There's racism from a cartoonist. You can get Biden not doing anything about East Palestine. So I'll tell you about an interesting experience I had a while back. So did I tell you I lived in Philadelphia?
I don't think you did, but go ahead.
Okay, so I lived in Philadelphia from 2004 till 2008. It was February when I left, I think. Yeah, February, first part of February. So I remember what happened to that city. And have you ever been to Philadelphia?
I have a few times, actually. In fact, I think most times I've been to Philadelphia was to attend wrestling events. Big wrestling city.
Oh, nice. Where? At Wachovia?
No, smaller shows. Philly was the home of ECW back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They had their own little bingo hall arena.
Okay.
Some of the biggest matches in wrestling history happened in this little hole in the wall venue. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice. In summer, I highly recommend going to Old City. In the morning, take the kids. In the evening, take your other half along. And, it's really nice, romantic. And I think in summer, it's kind of safer than what it usually is. So Old City near the water, basically, it's pretty nice. So highly recommend it. So anyway, yeah. So coming back to Philadelphia, it's an illustration of how the U.S. has really gone from being, like you said, a lot of the Democrats took the long lessons from Reagan, right? In the 80s, Reagan just wiped their asses clean. He won every single political argument, etc. But what they don't realize is it was all an illusion, right? It was all an illusion. He kept increasing the military spending. And of course, the people who sponsored it benefited, right? That was his main thing, is that, let's spend, let's give this money out to the military contractors. They're going to get rich. The Soviet Union is going to try and match, which they never were able to. And guess what? They pretty much bankrupted themselves. But there was something else, and that relates to Philly. So I'll come back to that in a minute. Do you remember what, at the end of the Soviet Union, the state of the Soviet leadership was? And this is something that I think Mehdi Hassan or Farid Zakaria, someone talked about this. So do you remember the state of the leadership in the Soviet Union?
No.
So it was basically a whole bunch of old people.
Right. Well, yeah.
Exactly. So which is exactly what's
So maybe we're
happening.
asking a different question, more specific.
Yeah, no. So that's the thing. Like, if you look at the Soviet Union, the reason they got lost was because the leadership was old, and even Gorbachev was comparatively younger, couldn't convince a lot of these old idiots that, okay, these are the steps that we need to do instead of military spending. By the way, can you hear me correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of military spending, we need to do X, Y, Z. But these old, like, idiots who were sitting there, they didn't really understand any of it. Then they were like, yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. I'm feeling sleepy today. Where's this parallel coming to?
Sleepy.
Dianne Feinstein. And then you have Chuck Schumer, and who, by the way, is seriously corrupt. Like, if you look at Chuck Schumer and his family connections to a lot of like private equity, banking, etc. Yeah, so that comes to Philadelphia. So Philadelphia in the 90s lost the shipyard, they lost a lot of the factories, etc. And they should have planned for it. They'd be like, okay, if we have lost that massive source of employment, what is the replacement, right? And they never have that replacement. So, like, I don't exactly know where you went in Philadelphia, but there are areas in Philadelphia, like in North Side, Germantown, etc., and then south of the city center, where it is bad, like really, really bad. And I went to Temple, like attended Fox Business School. So if you do not plan, like, okay, if you do not give people a decent lifestyle and you have absolutely no plan, you just don't care, right? That city is going to decline. What happened in Philadelphia in the areas that I'm talking about is starting to happen in suburbia as well, right? And you look at the opioid crisis, where is it really coming from? It's not that all of a sudden people became addicts. There was a motivation that made them realize that, look, I don't have any hope, so let me take this to relieve the pain. So do you see the pattern here? Like from the 80s when Reagan pretty much said that, oh, we're the greatest country in the world, don't worry about it. Reagan, if he was running for election right now, would not be the nominee for the Democratic Party. They would say, oh, he's too much to the left. Try explaining that to a lot of people, right? So what I want to really like people to think about, and maybe this is something for Thursday at the Majority Report, is how do you rejuvenate the American dream? Because it's gone. Like if you look at a lot of these cities, Philadelphia, West Virginia.
Well, I think also for a lot of people, it never existed.
That's true. But having said that, if you remember the early part of the 80s, there was an optimism that things were finally getting better. People were getting more opportunities, right? People were getting jobs, etc. Yes, there was also the racial divide, the economic divide, but there were people who got jobs. Do you remember what was the movie with Harrison Ford? And I think Harrison Ford was someone who was working in the city, and there was one actress. Let me look it up. It was not. Was it Working Girl?
Could be. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember like it was a very optimistic movie. It was like, everything's going to be fine because we're America, right? So, like, this is something
that could be it. Harrison Ford, Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yep.
So if do you remember the movie that was how very Working Girl? Yeah, Jack Trainer. Yeah, that was the character. So like it was optimistic. Everybody is going to do well. There's a future coming up, and that was what Reagan gave. He gave the vision, the dream. So where did it get lost? So you have to trace the fact that there was no leadership. And sorry, there is no leadership right now in the US, something that is reflected in the decline of the Soviet Union, where you had these old people who were just tired, right? So is there any way that the Democratic Party, and maybe also the Republicans, but you know what they're coming from, like the racism and the xenophobia and everything, but maybe it's time for younger people to say, look, we have done waiting, like you guys are not going to do anything. Let us take over. At least let there be a real clash of ideas.
Yeah, I think it's think it's not that simple. You know what I
No,
mean?
I know, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like it's not it's something for like a Tuesday night discussion, right? So like, how would you make that dream come back? And I know that there's a whole bunch of barriers, and especially with the rise of private equity, the nepotism in a lot of these critical positions where you need to appoint the critical, capable people. But, even among that, how would you, because the other alternative is things get really bad and it becomes the French Revolution, only certain people have a lot of guns, right?
Right.
So maybe it's something that, and that's maybe on the next. Do you remember Oluwemi? I think that's her name, right? She's with you on the leftist
Yes.
platform.
Yes. Ole. Yep.
Ole. So she brought up a very important point that everyone has this idea that, oh, American immigration is, if you're right, if you know what you're doing, if you're capable, you're gonna be American. That's the dream. No, it's not. It's a very deeply problematic system that does not reward hard work, right? So how do you develop a single manifesto going forward, right? Because it's going to either be that, develop a manifesto, work towards it as quickly as possible, as hard as possible, or a bloody revolution.
Right. I mean, I don't know where things are going to end up going. Like, I feel like that's romanticizing it in certain ways. The way
Yep.
people think about, especially on the left, about revolution and revolutionaries, and that's where this is all. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like people are just so even people who have it rougher
Yeah.
than most, are still, for the most part, complacent due to just the modern way of life. Also, the people who are most affected usually can't not work the 2 or 3 jobs and the 18-hour days they put in or whatever. They don't have the time to do anything about their situation, because if they stop working even one of those hours, they don't have enough to get by for their family. So that idea is they try to do something about their situation, and they could possibly lose everything. So I think because of these situations, I truly don't know where things are headed. I don't know. Like, I can't imagine. It's not work. Things aren't working, but they're working enough for people to not want to rock the boat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'll posit something that you're right in that they are complacent, but you're also right in that it's not complacency out of contentment, it's complacency out of, I don't want to change anything, because if I change anything, it might get worse,
Right.
right?
It's out of need.
And yeah, exactly. So let's come back to the point you said about revolution. I'm not talking about a romanticizing revolution. I'm talking about a revolution which will be very bloody. Like, if we don't do something politically right now with younger people who have the time and the energy. I'm going to be 44 this year, right? And I remember in the early 2000s when I was young, they were like, oh, we're going to change the world. We're going to do this, ABC. You guys get into a company. You do this, you do that. And now that I'm older, and I kind of knew it then, that which is why I never really got into corporate life, but it's all bullshit. It's bullshit for a very simple reason. You've heard of something called the Peter Principle, right? You must have, right? The
Right.
Peter Principle? Yeah, okay. So, and this is something that I have to explain first, so I kind of got into this habit. I think a lot of people in corporate level, mid and high, people among my age, maybe even younger, right, have the Peter Principle. They've been promoted to a point where they're terrified. They're terrified that if they do something different that needs to be done, they could lose everything. But the problem with that is, if you don't change, if you don't do something different, the system is just going to collapse. You have to know this. And unfortunately, people my age, I think we're too terrified. Like me personally, there's a lot of things that I would do, but I don't do because I'm kind of like, I don't have the flexibility to do it. But I think it's got to be younger people. I don't know your age, but I'm gonna guess you're much younger than me,
We're
right?
not that far off, actually. You said you're
Uh,
42, right?
40. I'm gonna be 44 this year.
Oh, 44? We're about 8 years apart.
Yeah, well,
7,
you're much
actually.
younger. Yeah, you're much younger than me.
Yeah,
So,
I
like I
guess
said,
that's much younger.
you're settled in, but the people like younger than you who still don't have those fears, they have to change it within the system by changing the system. Because if you don't, like you said, the revolutions are always romanticized. But if you read the history of all revolutions, they've been very bloody, especially Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. People think, oh, it was like hold hands and kumbaya and they went on the streets. No, it wasn't. It was very violent, and people, tend to not want to remember the fact that he was assassinated, right? So, you know, this group discussion, leftist mafia, and then something for your Thursday, or maybe just like a regular discussion, like how to develop that movement. So Hassan Abi, interestingly, like Hassan Piker,
Right.
has some of the things correct, but I think, and again, not to put it all on him, but people like him, the younger, the Twitch generation, and I don't really get Twitch, so which is why most of the time, except for maybe Linus Tech Tips, I watch on YouTube. So people like Hassan who are very aware, who are much younger, who don't have those commitments yet, they have to really step up because I don't, like you said, I don't see where this is going unless younger people step up because the older people has just had it. They're more Dianne Feinstein than they are, I don't know, Barack Obama. So it'll be really interesting 5-6 years. Forget 10 years, forget 2030. The next 5-6 years are going to be extremely interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I felt this way. Maybe it's because I am that one step below you, and you're talking about that one step below me in terms of age range.
Yeah.
But I felt this way back when Obama became president. I felt this way in 2011 with Occupy Wall Street. I felt this way with Bernie in 2016. I felt this way when Trump got elected. I felt this way again in 2020, and it just never happens. Nothing ever changes. I think we're going to just go through that again, and that younger generation's going to experience the same thing. This is going to be it. This is the jump off point, but nothing happens.
Yeah, you're right. But the question is like, okay, so somehow we have survived till this long, but with climate change and a lot of these changes happening, can we survive this? Can we keep doing the same thing again and again? And can we survive it?
I don't think you or I or the generation younger than me are going to be alive to experience that.
Yeah.
Just don't. I mean,
Well,
we'll experience climate change, but I mean experience that boiling point where it gets to be too much for people and something actually changes. I don't know if we'll be alive for that. I really don't at this point. Maybe I'm a disgruntled old man now, but
well, welcome, man. Welcome to that world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's an interesting point to discuss. Like, and your idea is very interesting in that maybe that boiling point will not come. But what if it does? I mean, we didn't predict the consequences of COVID, right? So maybe there's another crisis that'll make it worse or make it better. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. All it's gonna take is one big thing that's. I guess it can't be. It's not gonna be a generated thing. It's gonna be something that just organically happens. Like COVID changed things up big time. There are obviously areas that went back to business as usual, which sucks.
Yeah.
But there's a number of things that changed because of COVID. Obviously, good and bad. Lives lost. That's enough lives to really change the future of the country. What, people who are not alive to do things or be there for people, or younger people who died who will not be able to have kids and families. But then there's been changes in terms of certain ways how society acts. Again, both good and bad. So, that definitely is something that not some big overarching change, unfortunately, but I do feel like it push things in certain directions that wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Yeah, that's true. And I think one positive thing is that people are becoming more aware. So I guess that's a good thing. But the question is, like you said, will the boiling point come to the point where we'll respond positively to it rather than an induced violence and then maybe peace? So
Yeah, I don't know. It's from my personal experience, and I'm only 36, but I am 36.
yeah,
Eh, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but every time something has been, this is it. This is going to be the thing that changes things. I mean, 9/11 is probably that event in my life that changed things the most. Everything
oh
it
yeah.
changed was for the worst.
Oh yeah, I remember. Like I left Bangladesh for the U.S. in 2004. I remember going down to the World Trade Center, that area, and it was definitely, you could see the people there. They realized something had happened, and I think we're still feeling the consequences of that. Even though people, it's a distant memory, but there are like Marjorie Taylor Greene is a creation directly of what happened after 9/11, the lack of faith within the
Every
system.
single thing, post 9/11 is without a doubt that Trump,
Yeah.
the Republican Party as a whole, the Democratic Party as a whole.
Oh yeah.
This
Well,
is
it,
how I mean there's a distinct difference, honestly, even in at least around me. To this day, how even like societal changes in like neighborhoods, local neighborhoods and places, have people changed.
yeah. And like I said, the migration issue is a massive, important part of all this. And this is something that maybe one day, if you have time, and maybe if I come down to some place that we can sit down for a cup of coffee and I can expound on it for like 2-3 hours, because I have a theory that we're really looking at migration wrong in a wrong manner, because it has happened throughout centuries, right?
Oh, of course.
And if we keep thinking of it in terms of laws, that's not the
modern Homo sapien.
yeah.
Every single one of us migrated.
Exactly. So the question is, like, are we going to put barriers which are going to go down, whether again by violence or by rules, right? So it's an interesting question, like what's going to happen to make things better, or will it be worse and then better, or will it be worse and then worse and then worse? So
Right. Yeah, I mean, sure, the dinosaurs, there had been some dinosaurs who were like, there's going to be a moment, things are going to change for the better, everything's going to go great eventually. And then they look up in the sky and, oh, fuck.
yeah, that's true.
Hell, I mean, that could be us, we could be having all these little issues here on Earth, and at the end of the day, it all gets solved by a big old asteroid crashing into us and everything just going kaput. So who knows?
True. Or a super volcano. The one at Yellowstone is apparently overdue for a eruption.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's cross our fingers for. Well, I'm sure some of us will cross our fingers for the eruption, and some of us will cross for no eruption. Excuse me.
You take care of yourself, man. You look a bit pale. So.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Excuse me. Oh my god. I think I said this last stream. Very weird winter for me. Usually I get sick like one big like week-long sickness and I knock it out and that's it. I'm good for the rest of the year. Yeah. This winter, it's been like 1 or 2 days each weekend. It's always one of the days I'm streaming. It starts either the Tuesday or the Wednesday. And then I'm like sick for a day or two and then okay. And then next week comes around, I'm sick for a day or two, and repeat. This is like the 4th or 5th time this winter I've been sick. It sucks. I don't know what's going on, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. The one thing, though, I'd recommend is if you have a big temperature difference, like if you're at home, you have heating turned up high, and the outside is pretty cold, that will really affect your health. So
it's probably something like that, yeah.
Yeah, try and, take it relax a bit. There'll be tough times coming up. You probably have tours coming up, right? So do you go on tour?
No, I don't. Maybe in the future, maybe one day. But no tour here yet.
You,
I would love to do it though.
yeah, do a Toronto event.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
Get
cool.
Surf over here. He's in Vancouver, right?
Oh,
And
right,
David,
right.
yeah. So
I never thought of that. At least should do at least a show in Canada with those guys. I bet they could bring out a crowd if I don't
yeah,
have enough of a local audience. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think
yeah,
they might be on opposite sides of Canada though, so one of them would
yeah.
have to travel too. Maybe we do both.
Yeah, you could do both. Vancouver has a pretty big leftist leaning, like I'd say a lot of people there are very much on the left. But Toronto is also nice. And I don't know like which side, West Coast or East Coast you're in. So depending on which coast you're in, it'll be closer. And if you're in Toronto, tell David to look up this place called the Old Backpackers Cafe. It's a really nice place. The Old Backpackers Cafe. It's a really nice place. They
Old
have a nice little, yeah, I think,
Backpackers Cafe.
yeah.
I don't see it. Is it the only backpackers or?
Yeah, the only. Sorry.
I think this might be it then. Yep. The only backpackers in. Looks cool.
Yeah.
Looks a bit like hippie-esque.
Yeah, it's very hippie X. I usually stay there when I need to stay over in Toronto, and I think they should have like a event space that maybe I don't know what the rates are, but
Looks cool.
definitely yeah. If you're on this side, and I think David is Toronto based, so Montreal is a bit interesting. I mean, I don't know, like maybe it could be a good location as well, but Toronto surf Lance could fly over, I guess, or you could do it in Vancouver. Then David would fly over. But
Maybe leftist mafia should do something as a whole. That's a good idea.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna shoot that at them. Even if we just do don't gotta do a full like rock band esque living out in the van tour, but we should do a few dates here and there. That sounds like a good idea.
absolutely.
I'm sure all 6 of us combined could bring out enough people to fill up at least a small venue.
Absolutely, and like try and support some of these local venues because these are disappearing. Because rent is so absurdly expensive in Toronto that it's becoming like New York.
Right.
The
Yeah. That's every major metro area at this point, honestly.
Yeah, I remember New York. New York was so nice. Now half of New York apparently is empty because they're trying to get so much.
I don't know about anymore. Retail wise,
Yeah,
that's probably the case. Actual living quarters esque, actual homes. No, that's definitely not the case anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of empty retail space because these real estate companies would rather the big spaces literally stay their spaces stay empty
yeah.
than take a little bit less than what they're asking for. Honestly, it's crazy.
Exactly. You guys had Louis Rossmann on, right? Once on the Majority Report, I think.
Probably.
Yeah,
From the guy who runs that Mac repair shop.
exactly. Well, he left. I think he left for someplace, either Austin or some other place.
Oh, it's not there.
So
It's not there anymore. And
no, he's not. He's not in New York anymore.
really, I would take my. That's where I would go when I needed to.
Yeah, I think he left, and he has like a whole bunch of videos regarding why he had to leave. So highly recommend watching them. So Louis Rossmann, while you're still in New York, used to go to different places, and basically, to make videos about why the hell are they trying to charge so high, and it's all empty now. And he has some very interesting recent videos. So maybe politically he could be slightly to the right of us, but on all the main points, I think we agree with him in terms of like the right to repair. Cities should be more affordable because otherwise small businesses are going to just walk away. And it's kind of scary. Like a lot of these real estate companies just don't care.
All right. No, they don't. They don't. There needs to be something done at the government level, but they're not going to.
Of course not.
Right.
Eric Adams, do something about New York. Are you crazy? The guy's a creature of the business.
Oh, he went on an insane rant today about he doesn't believe we should separate church and state. This is the fucking mayor of New York City.
Eric Adams? Seriously?
Yeah.
Hmm.
and that God guides him in everything he does. And it's really bizarre speech about really weird, really fucking weird. I mean, he's a weird dude to begin with, but
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
especially weird.
But it makes sense if you go to some of the evangelical churches near, I forget the location. It's not the Bronx. Was it Harlem? So if you ever gone to any one of those church sessions, it explains a bit of the mentality, but there are other issues that compound it as well. So, because I used to go up to New York when I was in Philadelphia, so I met quite a few interesting people. So I get where it's coming from, but that's not the solution, man. And oh God, Andrew Yang, I'm so mad at this guy. He single-handedly acted as a spoiler. Yes, Maya Wiley could have been a better candidate, but even then, he basically siphoned off enough votes for Eric Adams to win. So, that's
Right.
another long discussion. Anyway,
All right.
I'll let you go. Thanks, man.
Have a great night. Always a pleasure. Peace.
Yep. Take care, and we look forward to you to being in Toronto.
Oh yeah, I don't know when it would happen, but it does sound like a plan.
Yeah, talk to David and talk to Lance, see what they say, who else is in Canada, and you could have an event somewhere here.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah.
Good night.
Take care, man. Bye.
I'll take 2 more calls. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Whoa, I didn't expect you to answer.
Oh, well, you're on. How are you? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
And I'm Rob from Bloomington, Indiana.
Hey, Rob. What would you like to talk about?
Well, you were talking to, I can't remember the name of the guy who called in that was talking about like revolution and stuff.
Oh yeah, the guy who just I just hung up on. Right. Yeah. What would you like to say about it?
So we're living in kind of like really interesting times overall. So within the past couple of years, we've had unions being built, Starbucks, Amazon, like more and more cities across the country, the unions are forming.
Right.
So there's a struggle for, better working conditions across the board. Of course, the climate's a huge, struggle with leadership, and, we know that they're not idiots. Well, we know that they're not idiots in the sense that they don't really believe there isn't climate change. The religious fascist, the new Christian Christo-fascist, however, uprisings happen in a country, and a year later, socialism is being condemned in our government. That ultimately I'm getting at, there's such an imbalance between socially all the the social conditions of our society and the government, that there ultimately just has to be a tilting point towards revolution. It happens like this almost in every society throughout history, and just in our own history in the US, we have some sort of even small social uprising every 10 years. It's give or take.
Right.
Yeah,
but nothing's really fundamentally changed. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of the current time we're living in, like, you could argue, I guess, the last time there was some sort of big change in this country was probably civil rights, which obviously was huge, but that's now 40, 50, 60 years ago.
yeah. So a large fundamental change is kind of now due in terms of, gosh, right before this civil rights, there was what was before that? Was it women's rights?
Suffrage in the early 1900s, 1920s, I think.
Yeah, so like a 40-year difference between major changes. But to even certain things, I mean, look, we had the Women's March, which, Obama passes a law bill or whatever that puts women at equal pay for equal work. Trump comes in and just destroys it. And, so women don't, and a lot of people don't even know that.
Right.
Uh,
Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean,
you're fine.
Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna take. You would think that post what just happened these past 3 years, there would have been a turning point. Instead, we just went the opposite direction, and people, the people who, the sane, normal people, hunkered down on the current state of things, which I get due to the uncertainty of everything. But then everyone else just fucking lost their minds and went even crazier with conspiracy theories and bullshit, completely out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
Like, not people on our side. Like, people
No,
not
no,
looking to change things for the better.
Right. I totally agree.
Like, the actual, like, revolutionary spirit in terms of the people looking to disrupt the current swing of things are actually coming from the side that wants to make things worse, not the side that wants to make things better.
Right. I agree. But at the same time, okay, so I'm a leftist. I've been in the CPUSA now for 20 years. And we've seen exponential growth within the past couple of years.
Right.
Like there's a significant.
I definitely think things are. There is a. There's definitely been a move to the left, obviously with younger people, and I think the millennial generation, which is the generation I'm a part of, but I'm an older millennial. From what I've seen, we are the first generation to not get moved to the right as we get older, which is good because it seems like maybe Gen Z will follow that too. And perhaps with time, these generations and then generations younger than those two even combined will take over the politics, the institutions, and perhaps bring about the change we've been talking about for so long. We're talking something that's 30, 40 years, and I'm being kind, out. I'm being generous, I should say, right now. So I don't know. We got to hold on for a couple of decades, I guess.
Right. So, well, I'm 46. I'm mainly a child of the 90s,
Right.
So, when I was a teenager,
your generation somehow ended up worse than the boomers.
Yeah.
Gen X. I don't know what the hell happened with them. It really is unbelievable. Like, boomers saw Trump and even they were like, holy shit, well, we're not voting for this guy. And like literally, if you look at like the breakdown of like how the demographics by generation, boomers made a turnaround and helped defeat Trump. It was the Gen Xers who went further right than anyone else and went, fuck it, we love this guy.
Right. Well, and that's what's weird. Like, by the time the 90s came around, I don't remember ever being in a situation where racism and homosexuality were issues. Like, I grew up on the East Coast and moved to Indiana. So I'm originally from Jersey, and I don't remember anybody being racist where I grew up. and I don't remember anybody being like homophobic and anti, LGBTQ in
Right.
my age.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they were. Probably wasn't
I'm
as
sure there
overt,
were. I'm
but
just saying.
I can attest for even in my generation, at least from my experience, uh, there were people throwing away that F word all the time as like like to say something was shitty or to call someone shitty,
Yeah.
I should say. That's something that I barely hear now. I'm sure there are areas where they still use that word normally, or even locally. I'm sure, or just not in my group of people. But I remember being in, junior high and high school and hearing that word thrown around. So it definitely was. It just wasn't the hatred and actual ideological motives behind it wasn't as overt as it is today.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to totally take up too much of your time, but I'm I guess I'm pretty optimistic and realistically optimistic. So I definitely understand where you're coming from in terms of, a handful more of decades out
See, I'm
before
usually
something.
I'm a pretty positive person, and I'm usually very optimistic or upbeat is probably the better term for it because I could talk about some pretty doomer scenarios and still be upbeat apparently. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like again you're older than me, so you've experienced more. But from what I experienced, things that I thought would turn things around ended up just being a whimper, just a little blip in the big picture.
Yeah.
I haven't
Well,
seen
there,
anything in my again other than 9/11. I have not seen any big life changing, societal changing event in my lifetime.
I can't remember where I saw this, but I just maybe within the past 2 weeks, I just saw uh, an article about how for example, the George
Yeah,
Floyd.
I thought that was it. I thought that was the one of those moments. I was like, this is gonna be big, and it was. And then it just took people like a couple months out for the right to get a hold of them and turn everything in, and then say, oh, this wasn't what it was, and now you white people are in danger, and oh, the pandemic was part of it too. It was the pandemic, and they weaponized the combination of the pandemic and Black Lives Matter to literally make people get less rational about science and vaccines and more racist than I've ever experienced openly, honestly. And I think,
Yeah.
honestly, I think that might be a lot of people's experiences too, even black people and certainly the LGBTQ community, especially young people. Again, I'm sure elder LGBTQ people have experienced this in the 90s and 80s and I'm sure they've seen it, but to go back the way we are right now after 2020 with the lockdowns and then the big support for Black Lives Matter that happened that summer, it's incredible to see how quickly it all reverted. It is
Yeah.
it really does shock me how quickly it all went backwards.
Right. But we also do have bills like the George Floyd Act is out now. How far it will get will never, we has to be seen. But then also what is it, PRO Act? The what is the bill that supports unions and stuff?
Oh, shit, I can't remember right now.
I think it's called PRO Act.
It's getting late.
Yeah. Anyway, well, my point is we are seeing bills that are reflecting certain things that society wants. Like the George Floyd Act is seeing police officers get prosecuted who deserve to be prosecuted, or community control of the police, uh, are coming out because of the issues with police. There's more unions are growing. We have, there is the LGBTQ community fighting back. You know what I mean? It's like
Oh
there
no,
is
there's
more
definitely
pressure.
there's definitely people doing the work to do better for others and society. Um, it's just shocking to see certain work having to be done all over again, as if we didn't just live through the past 20 years. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It
Yeah,
is definitely crazy.
yeah.
So thank you for taking my call, man. I'll go ahead and let you go.
No, great call.
And,
Please call in again. I think this is your first time calling, right?
yeah, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
definitely feel free to call in anytime. It's a great call.
Oh, and just I actually didn't know that you existed until I caught Leftist Mafia.
Oh, that's good. Then
And
that shows that the show is doing the work of getting
yeah,
each of us in front
I
of the other's audience.
I actually binged watched to catch up
Oh,
last week.
nice. Wow.
So
That's awesome.
so yeah, so I just started watching your channel and catching you every now and again.
Oh, that's really great. I love to hear that. I always love hearing how people find out about the stream. Who was there someone specific of the six of us that you, obviously not me, but was there someone specific who you you were a fan of and they introduced
Oh,
you to everybody else, or?
I actually watched is it Mike from the Humanist Report
Yes, that's Mike. Yep.
and then David from the Rational National.
Okay, right.
So I
Yeah.
watched both of them.
Yeah, they're great.
And yeah, and then I found the rest of you, so I subscribed to all your channels.
That's awesome. I really appreciate A, you calling in, and B, you sharing how you found out about the show. And please, if you do enjoy, keep watching and call in anytime.
Cool, thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
I love it. I love it. That made me so happy about, that's what, at least for now, that's what Leftist Mafia is all about. I'll take one more call. Last call. Short and sweet, hopefully. No pressure to do that. Hey, what's your name? Excuse me. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Matt. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, but there's a bit of weird. Just wait. A little bit of weird static.
Okay, 1 second. I'll be
Sure.
right there. Is it better now?
Oh, that fixed it. Absolutely, 100% better. What's your name? Where are you calling
Okay,
from?
I'm wearing earphones. This is Sigil from Nigeria.
Sigil from Nigeria. Long time no talk. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Well, that's like a reflexive answer, but yeah, we just had our elections on Saturday in Nigeria. So I wanted to talk a bit about that, if that's okay.
Sure. Yes, let's do it. How'd that go? Is it?
Okay. First, I have to talk
doesn't
about...
sound great.
Well, I have to talk about the lead up to the election. First of all, we have like a lot of major problems. I'll say like 5 or 4 of them. First of all, we have like no functioning power grid, and I haven't had electricity for the past 5 days, and it's been hell. So.
This took a turn for the worst that I wasn't expecting. We are elections. Let me tell you all about them. First, we have no electricity.
It's a very important part of the situation.
Yeah.
So to to provide our own electricity, everybody has generators. So you buy petrol or diesel for your generator. There's been an ongoing fuel crisis. And the people have been queuing for like hours at a time to buy like extremely price gouged fuel. And aside from that, there's also a money crisis. It's extreme. The central bank has made it very hard to convert money to dollars or pounds or any foreign currency. They've made it impossible to get it. Naira is the currency.
What's the currency at? What's the exchange at right now? How much is equal to a dollar?
That's
the US dollar.
Yeah, that's the thing. In the legit market, it's like 400 and something naira.
Jeez.
But because you can't get money the legit way, you have to get it on the black market, making it 700 or something dollars, maybe even 800 now.
Wow.
800 naira, sorry, to get a dollar, and it's 1,000 naira to get a pound at this point. So,
what's the preferred currency over there? About a dollar or a pound?
Pound is worth more, but more it's more affordable to get dollars. So either way.
And people there take both.
No, we don't take dollars. It's like if you want to travel or if you have like
Oh,
kids
got
that
it.
are studying abroad,
Got it.
yeah, or something, yeah. Um, yeah, it's impossible to get dollars here, and it's impossible to get naira as well because in late last year, the central bank also announced that they were printing new notes, and everybody had like a very short amount of time to get rid of their old notes because they would no longer be accepted by banks. And so now nobody has any cash. You can't get cash from ATMs because they haven't printed enough money. And also, rich people were hoarding the money
Of course.
before the cash shortage. Yeah, I heard somebody, I was talking to a friend, and they said they knew somebody that had like 10 million naira just in their house in cash. And it's like, no wonder nobody can get cash. You literally have to buy cash. So if you want there's people that have money because the banks don't have money anymore. So if you want money, you transfer money to them for like an extra price, and then you have to buy your own money. So, and all these things are connected because the people that have been in power for the last 8 years is APC, the current party. Our president is Buhari. He's a northerner. He's yeah. So yeah, he's a very conservative kind of punitive. He used to be a military dictator, actually. Yeah, and they've been in charge for the past 8 years. They just ruined this country. I remember when they started, maybe Naira was at the Naira had been going down, but at this point, like it went from maybe 300 Naira to now it's like seven, yeah, like I said, 800 Naira. They're they have connections everywhere, literally everywhere. They've wrestled power from every like pressure point. So the currency, the fuel scarcity, the electricity, it's all their fault. Their new candidate, because Buhari has reached his term limits, is Tinubu. Tinubu is kind of a notorious like mobster political figure. Like he pretty much if he he has thugs basically everywhere. He's like the center of political violence. Like during 2020, there was the End SARS protest, which was like a spin-off of the George Floyd protests in America because it was an anti-police brutality protest. So there was supposed to be like a march on a road that Tinubu had connections with because it's actually a government-built road, but people had been saying that he's been taking all the money from the toll gates and profiting off of that. So people were walking down the toll gates road at night trying to protest, and they were massacred by the police and the army. And to this day, the party that is in charge has said that nothing happened that day, that there was no police, that there was no military, nobody shot anybody, nobody died. Even though they've paid some of the families compensation, they're still insisting that nobody died and like nothing happened. So not only do they do political violence, they do propaganda to pretend that the political violence never happened because they're deeply invested in the police state. Um, yeah, it's all sorts of messed up. But the thing about now this is just the lead up to the election. So now to the election, the on Saturday, sorry, and INEC as well, the independent body that oversee our elections, has been suspected to be massively corrupt because on Saturday they were supposed to upload the election results directly as they were counting them. People are there after voting and they count the votes along with the people who are supposed to be, tabulating everything. And after that count, the votes were supposed to be directly uploaded to their website. Not only were there in some places thugs that directly like literally stole ballots or threw them in the gutter, some of the officials who were supposed to be counting refused to count. They were counting ballots wrong and refused and said that their systems were down and couldn't upload their election results, which is what gave us faith in the what gave us faith in this election to begin with. Like, Nigerians have very little faith in any sort of government system at all. Even as I'm speaking now, like, we have no faith that if we take it to court, that not only did the election results not get uploaded on time, that literal thugs were paid, and paid with money, not because the people in charge made sure nobody else had money. They made sure there was a cash shortage. So you pay thugs in money. So obviously it's one party that is controlling the thugs. So we have no faith that if we take the thugs to courts, or if we take it to a higher authority, that things will actually be listened to. And the opposing parties are the second major party, which is PDP, which is kind of more of the same, and the Labour Party, which has like a Bernie Sanders-esque leader, except he's not, he's not as progressive as Bernie Sanders, because we're still kind of religious fundamentalists over here. But yeah, Peter Obi is his name. And I was actually going to call into the Majority Report today, but they didn't pick up. And I wanted to recommend someone that maybe they could interview and talk to about the whole thing. Any was that coherent at all? It is 5 a.m.
No, yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy, but it sounds not out of like it's you describe something that obviously is all over the place and sounds insane in many ways, but totally 100% believable. I mean, it just seems exactly what honestly it feels like it could happen here. It doesn't even seem that out of it's not even like, oh, this is something that only happens in some
like
other country outside of America. No, it's all game now. It's all game now.
This is what Donald Trump is trying to do. This is what January 6th was about. Like, thugs were beating people up here as they were voting. It stopped the steal, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I live in Lagos, and it's an APC stronghold, and the Labour Party still won by a landslide, a massive landslide. But all over the country, where there's less infrastructure, where it's less connected, and where it's more conservative, because Lagos is a big city, people are still voting APC. And it's very sad, because the APC nomination is millions and millions of naira. You have to pay so much money that people will never see in their lifetimes. If I want to rent a house, I have to have at least 7 million naira right now. And it's impossible to save that much money just to rent for 1 year. It's 7 million naira, and you can't pay your rent monthly. You have to pay at once in like a bulk sum at the beginning of the year. So it's just, there's no upward mobility for people. If you want to leave the country, nobody wants to take you if you're from Nigeria. People have a very low opinion of Nigeria. So it's just like they're trapping people, and they're putting them in a boiling point where there's no cash, there's no fuel, there's no rights, there's misogyny, there's homophobia, there's nothing. People are feeling extreme despair. And ironically, the person that might be profiting off of that is Tinubu, because he's also suspected to have drug ties, which is why there's a lot of drugs in Nigeria now. I went to a party, and I couldn't believe somebody was smoking meth. I was like, how did they get meth over here? That was the craziest shit to me. Like, we have so many problems. Like, how are we? Anyway.
Well, the drug trade will always find a way to get. If there is a consumer base for it, they'll be there.
I know, but I'm saying, like, the drugs here are usually tamer. It's a really big step from like weed to meth, but yeah.
That is true, though. That is a big step.
Truly, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's so. What's happening now? What's the next? What are people expecting next?
We're still waiting for the results. It looks like with the results the way they are now, that APC, the current party, the Kura party, is still going to maintain power if INEC certifies the results. They're saying they're counting the results now as they are, despite what we know about them, despite the fact that we know that thugs literally attacked people as they were voting because of their ethnic background or who they were suspected to be voting for. So, and that they stole ballots and that the results weren't uploaded like they said they were going to be uploaded. So, and they're still counting the results as it is now, despite all the chaos of what could have gone wrong with the results. So the worry is that they're going to confirm who the leader is and then try and address the problems with the election, which is totally backwards because once you confirm somebody, that person is going to run with it, especially somebody that already wants to be a dictator. The guy who is going to be elected as APC president, if Tinubu, the mafia guy who's going to be elected as president, his slogan is Emilokon, which means it's my turn. That's literally his slogan. It's my turn. So is I don't know what's going to happen. We don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's still another election for House of Reps or Senate? It's one of those. Yeah. I didn't even mention the widespread voter suppression, which is like you have to get a voter's card, which you have to like wake up at like ass crack o'clock, go to your local government, wait there until how many hours until somebody answers you, and then capture. And then after you capture, the infrastructure is so like I think deliberately bad that you might have to go back all over again. And aside from that, if you move neighborhoods, you have to re-register. Or sorry, you have to transfer your registry to your new neighborhood so you can vote in your new neighborhood. So I haven't been able to vote because I moved neighborhoods and I transferred and I still couldn't get my voter's card, so couldn't vote. Anyway, yeah, just voter suppression because they know that if people turn out for the elections, they're not going to get elected.
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
Right. Voter suppression's might be doing some interesting ways there, but they do interesting ways here too. It's same bastards all over the place, right? I mean, really.
Honestly,
that's what we're dealing with.
Is literally the same kind of person all over, always. These geriatric, like power-hungry wealth hoarders. Like at this point, you've had enough, bro. You have literally millions. Go sit in a spa somewhere. Pay somebody to rub your back. Like it's like the level to which people try to gain power, even though they have all of it already. Anyway, yeah.
Well, Sigil.
Yeah. So, sorry.
Is there any update on the electricity situation?
They said that. Well, I don't know if this is true, but in the neighborhood WhatsApp group, they said that there was some thugs that pushed down a power line and it fell into a swamp, and they're trying to fix it. So I don't know when.
Oh, that's good. The information's coming from the neighborhood WhatsApp, you said, right? And the information is that there's a bunch of thugs fixing it. But good.
They're not fixing it. They threw it into a swamp.
Oh, they're the ones who broke it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. I thought maybe, they were that a bunch of like local gangs decided to get together and just fix the issue because they couldn't wait for it to be fixed anymore. This is even worse.
Actually, that might be better. Yeah.
Yeah, this is even worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And can I just recommend some things?
Yeah, sure.
I'm hoping that maybe either you or the Majority Report could interview Dele Farotimi. He's a Labour Party representative. He's not elected. He just represents the party. He's like a spokesperson and advisor. So maybe I'll send that to you. I don't know where I can send that to you, his name to you.
Oh, but email it to me, or DM me on Twitter, either or. At Matt Binder on Twitter.
Oh man, I don't have Twitter.
Oh, it's all right then. Matt at X.
Do you have Instagram?
Yeah, DM me on Instagram. Same username at Matt Binder. Yep.
Okay. I'll Instagram you. Please check it because I know you don't really. Okay. And also, I want to recommend a cancellation for Leftist Mafia.
Please do so. I'm guessing I know where this is going, but go ahead.
Oh, you don't.
Oh, okay. I don't then. Go ahead.
I would like to cancel Vosh for his continued kind of quote unquote weaponized misogyny, which is actually just misogyny. He continually he's kind of a corrosive, in my opinion, he's kind of a corrosive force in leftist spaces because of his continued nods to bigotry to quote unquote de-radicalize the right wing audience, where it's just giving them left wing talking points to disguise their underlying racism or homophobia or misogyny. That
I know people have I know there's critiques of Vosh out there, but I never really I guess look too much into it.
I understand why you don't, because you actually do work in the leftist space and he's a coworker.
Well,
but,
if it was bad, I have no problem calling people out at all. So please, is there someone who breaks it down in a that you could recommend, who I can watch a video or two of?
Okay. I don't know an exact video, but I have a lot of friends who are on Twitter all the time. So I know about the incident with Cat Black, where he basically he basically tried to turn his audience against her, and he and literally in one of his responses on Twitch told his audience to harass ContraPoints because she was wrong in defending Cat Black. So it's a constant pattern where he goes after trans women and women of color, and but because he's a quote unquote leftist and he raises money and he does all these things for the cause, it's ignored. It's part of just an ongoing thing of ignoring things that are actually happening to women, Black people. And yeah, he did it to Professor Flowers as well. They were debating over something, and he sent his audience after her, and they basically harassed. Anyway. I understand if you don't want to get into it because of the drama.
No, I see people. Yeah. I see people talking about it. Ooh, someone's mad at me because they think I know. I'm really not playing dumb. I don't really pay attention to streamers. To be quite honest.
I don't expect people in the actual media sphere to know, because it's why would you spend your time knowing about the internet when you to know about the actual politics? Yeah.
I don't even know why Vosh specifically, blew up bigger than most other leftist YouTubers. That's always been something I never understood. I'm sure there's a reason, but I just never looked into it, honestly.
I mean, it was at a time when people were trying to the main mission of LeftTube was trying to de-radicalize white men. So it was okay, this guy is kind of a shithead, so we can talk to these people. That is our main focus at the time. And yeah, it's that's kind of the thing. The focus of leftist spaces online is usually to try and de-radicalize white men, which is basically just making them the focus of the movement all over again. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's my vote for cancellation.
I'll bring it up I'll try to bring it up. I don't know if they want to get into it. Listen, I have no problem. I have no problem even talking with him about it. I think he does good, but I'm sure what you're saying is accurate.
And he literally even called Jamie from the Majority Report. He called her dumb and said that she was a bad messenger for leftists, and I was really? And then the blame is always put on people who quote unquote focus on identity politics, which just means people who aren't white dudes. There's always this focus on them dividing the movement by calling out people, but there's never a focus on the people they're calling out for their obvious misogyny. Anyway, that's I'll stop hogging.
No, listen. See, now there's all sorts of. You've really started something in the chat. There's people, people defending Vosh, people angry at Vosh. There's people saying the people he goes after are no good to begin with, and it's all over the place now. Listen, I don't.
Sorry.
I don't.
Came here to unlock chaos.
I don't deal in streamer. Well, that's not true. But I usually don't deal in. How do I put this? My targets are usually people who are right wingers, and then those fake leftists who partake in right wing politics. certainly there are left-wingers who have issues, but my opinion, again, without talking about anyone in specific, you could approach those people about those issues you have with them, which are totally justified issues to have with them, but not throw them away altogether. But I don't know if you're talking about anything worse than what I don't know how I don't know how bad what you're telling me is. So I don't know if it's the case of someone's no good at all, or
Yeah, I mean, that's not like for me to decide. It's like basically like is their platform doing more harm than good? And I don't know. I don't watch them. I just know that like every time I hear about them, it's because they literally did something to somebody like else in the leftist space who isn't a white dude. Or maybe it's destiny, but yeah, that's just something.
Oh, I have I'm no real fan of Destiny, but then also I was on a stream. With him.
Me either.
I was on a stream with him, that election stream, the right wing election stream that I did last year, and he was on there, and like when it was me and him and Ben Burgess talking with 3 or 4 other right wingers. 3 of us, while I'm sure we don't agree on everything each other says, there were bigger fish to fry in that debate, and we were pretty much on the same page for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I have no problem calling people out, or at least approaching people about a certain issue, even if they are on our side, I guess. I just truthfully never understood the people who hated Vosh, not because I didn't know, but I also never understood the people who loved Vosh because I didn't get how he got so big compared to other streamers. Like he's much bigger than even.
Is me 100%.
Like he's much bigger than even like Humanist Report, David Dole. Like they have hundreds of thousands of YouTube subscribers, but they don't get the same viewership as Vosh does. He's unparalleled in terms of the viewership. I don't see anyone on the left getting numbers he does on YouTube. On Twitch, obviously you have Hassan, but I don't see anyone getting Vosh numbers. It's weird. I don't get it. Not dissing Vosh either. Weird. I just don't get it. I just don't get what attracts that audience to
I don't get it at all. It just seems like apart from you, because you actually speak throughout when you're reacting to things, but to me it just seems like people just sitting and looking at things that they're supposed to be reacting to and then not saying anything. But I get
bothered when I'm sitting here and I'm quiet for too long. It bothers me a lot. And then I'm watching other streams and that's the norm. And it's like, what? Well, I can do that, but I just can't. Yeah. I personally can't do that. I feel weird sitting here and just people watching me as I look at something and don't say anything. I'm sure there's moments where it's happened, and I can assure you I felt very uncomfortable while it was happening.
Yeah. I watch everything. I don't watch streaming because I like to watch everything at 2 times speed. So whenever I watch a YouTube video or a stream and people are talking normally, it's like they're talking in slow motion and I can't deal with it. Anyway.
All right.
I'll thank you for taking my call.
You just got me in a lot. I'm sure you got me in a lot of trouble in those last 5 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I don't. Seriously, I'm no holds barred here. You could talk about whatever, and I will also talk about whatever. So don't worry about it. Maybe it'll get me some extra views.
Yeah, maybe this is the drama you need to skyrocket you to fame.
Hey, from my complete interaction with Vosh is based on the Ukraine stuff. He had me on his stream because of that. I know of him because of how big his show is, but I don't know any of the background, any of the beefs, any of the feuds, any of that stuff. I really don't.
I know. I'm just trying. Yeah, I know.
I know there's some people in the chat who do not believe me, but I don't watch any of these shows. I'm being honest with you. Yeah, and it sounds horrible saying it. Do you think I sit and tune into they're going to kill me on Thursday. You think I sit and tune into David Dole and Mike's Humanist Report on a regular basis? Hell no. I don't watch. You think I watch the Surf's 4-hour daily Twitch stream? No.
Yeah, like I think what people in the chat have to remember is that you have 2 children and you work like 5 jobs. So yeah, you don't.
Oh, even if I didn't have kids,
really
I wouldn't watch any of this.
Yeah.
No, it's just I'm sort of old fashioned, I guess, when I don't like watching anything but like short content on a computer. Like I can't watch a movie on my computer or a phone. I got to go in front of a TV set. I can't do it. I don't watch a show on my computer or on my phone. We need to set aside the time to make sure the kids are asleep so we sit down, settle in on the couch, and watch a TV show or a movie. I'm old. I'm an old man Binder that way. So you better believe I'm not sitting down watching a 4-hour live stream in front of my computer.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again. Also, sorry again. Yeah, I'll DM you on Instagram, and yeah, that's it. Thanks.
All right. No, this is great. Have a great night, and don't forget to DM me that stuff, that information.
Okay.
Okay.
All
bye.
Right. Bye.
Ooh, some people are really mad at me in the chat. No, it's true. Someone's pointing out that I'm a journalist. I could have looked into it. You're absolutely right. I'm not claiming the information's not out there. I'm just claiming I've never looked into it. That's what I've said from the beginning. It's never interested me. To that point, because I felt like there were more time-worthy targets? I don't know. If, like, someone in this space is actually causing real widespread harm, then absolutely we should know about it. So let me know and I'll look further into it. Let's call it a night. Hey caller, I'm sorry. I'm there's a few more people trying to call in. That's it for me tonight. I'm gonna hang up the phones. Let me read whatever super chats. There are Wanda with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Wanda. My doctor says climate change is making us all sicker because no normal winters and virus/bacteria not dying and recycling normally. Love the idea of leftist mafia going on tour. I would come. Ooh, I got to bring that up. I think that's because all of us combined should be able to bring out, I think. Wow. I don't want to get her in trouble because I don't think so. I'm not going to name her in the chat, but I got someone threatening me that I better go to bed. She's joking, I think, a little bit. I really don't know. I'm not going to get into it anymore. I don't know. You really all want to get me in trouble, don't you? Oh, thank you everyone on Twitch, by the way. Robot Monkey Cat resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Subscriber for 16 months. Congratulations on the addition to your family, even though it's only a cat in name only. My sympathies to Sabu for the toy loss. Yes. Oh, it was a hype train. I missed it. Level 5 hype train. 18 sub gifts and 224 bits. Awesome. Tim Bob RN cheered 100 bits. Thank you so much. Artistic Simplicity 100 bits. Tim Bob with an extra 24 bits. This One gave out 5 community gift subs. Thank you, This One. Artistic Simplicity gave out 5 community gift subs. Jeez. Nug Wrangler gave out 5 community gift subs. Artistic Simplicity resubscribed for 1 month at Tier 1. Subscriber for 7 months. Did I read everybody else's? I think I did. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Wow. Cameron says Matt could beat up Vosh, no problem. Maybe Vosh and I should do that new thing that all the cool social media influencers are doing, and we should set up a celebrity boxing match. Oh, I would love to do that with like Ben Shapiro. Obviously, I'm not big enough to do that with Ben Shapiro, but man, I would love to box someone on the right. I don't even care. I would probably lose. I just want to get in one nice good punch, and that'll be totally worth it. Of course, one good punch under sanction of an official, consensual, combative sport, athletic competition. I would never do anything outside of that, obviously. All right, folks. Before anything else happens tonight, thank you all for the love and the it was a great stream. A lot of people watching. I think we peaked at like across both streams like maybe 500, 600 people maybe. At once, concurrent, probably more obviously at the end. But yeah, the artist says Vosh is big as we probably wouldn't be in the same weight class. That'd be the problem with Vosh and I boxing. And also I wouldn't go at her. It would be a friendly oh, don't get mad at me for that, but it'd be a friendly fight. I got no hatred towards Vosh. Michael Reich with a $30 super chat. Close, but the winner of the Che lookalike contest is Freddie Prinze. I don't know what the context that was in, but thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. I don't know what's going on with my green screen, why it's going out like that so much. All right, folks. Let me say goodnight. I'm exhausted. Have a great night, everybody. Oh, who should I raid on Twitch? Got a nice sizable Twitch audience still. Someone just shared their Watch Streak 3 privately with you and mods on Twitch. I have no idea what that fucking means. But thank you. Being that it's shared privately with me and mods, I'm assuming you don't want me to say your name, like your username. But I got no fucking idea what that means, but it's something I've never seen in my activity feed before, and it sounds good. A watch streak? Riverboat, we got a Riverboat Jack recommend for a raid. Amy EC3. Do I dare? Oh, Hassan is on right now? I never stream when Hassan is on. Dare I raid Hassan? We never stream at the same time. Will he even notice me? Let me see what he's doing, and I'll do it. Oh, he's live in Japan or something, right? He's not gonna notice. Could be good for the show. Should I do it? Should I rate Hassan? Let me do it. Maybe it'll help in some way. We never stream at the same time. I'll rate Riverboat Jack and Amy EC3 next time for sure. Let me do this. Who knows? Maybe this is the big moment I'm waiting for. Let's do it. Maybe my dozens of raiders I'm sending over will add to his 25,000 viewers. Let's do it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Great show. I really enjoyed it. I will see you all next time on Doomed.